All right, welcome back, Black Magic TV. And this week, surprise guest on the road, the Florida man himself, Nate Greco.
I'm so psyched to be here.
Nate, thanks for coming. Randomly, I opened up my Instagram the other day, and I haven't seen Nate in a few years. And boom, somebody that I know, Eric, is sitting there like posting videos of Nate up. I'm like, oh, I guess he's in town.
I didn't want to make big plans and announce like I was coming and then not follow through. So I figured I'd just like try to hit up everybody who has free time, and then I would try to work around when everyone else is free.
Yeah.
And it's way more fun that way because then it's like you can really...
Well, if you make it known too, then you have like all the people that you don't want to see necessarily.
Yeah. I didn't want to tattoo this trip because I just wanted to hang with buddies and talk about cars.
But that's what I'm saying is like you can't just be like, especially here, you've come here so much that like it's like there's probably some people that's like, well, you're cool, man, but like you're not really like worthy of the limited time I have. Like this is like reserved for, you know, the homies.
I love this place so fucking much, and it's
it
like
rules,
if I have
dude.
limited amount of time, I'm trying to get the most out of it as I can. I would stay here for another week if I could. I just want to make sure that I don't piss anyone off at home that made an appointment with me to get a tattoo. And I didn't tattoo once for the past 2 weeks.
No, you're good.
And my hand feels so fucking good. It's so weird.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just it. I was telling you my back's been messed up, so I took off work, and like I'm like day 2 basically of like a week and a half off, and I'm just like,
better.
I feel better today. Feeling pretty good. I just needed a break.
Back shit sucks,
dude. Just in general, getting old sucks. I'm all fucked up. But anyways.
I started stretching a lot more. It fucking changes a lot of stuff.
I was working out, and then it's like I took a lull on that because I had a lot of life changes happen in the last few months. So we're trying to get
I was gonna say, dude, you look great.
Yeah, I feel
last
good.
Last time I seen you were about 30 pounds heavier, dude.
Oh, more than that probably, dude. Yeah, I was probably more than that. I was like way big.
Yeah.
Eric showed me a photo of the first time I went to Salina with everyone. Like, so this would have been in like 2006 maybe.
Damn.
And he sends me this photo. I'm like, why are you sending me this? He's like, damn, you don't even recognize yourself. And there's just this big fat bastard in the middle, dude.
Surprise yourself.
And I was just like, whoa. I was like, I couldn't believe that was me. I mean, at one point, dude, I wore a 3X t-shirt and she was fitting snug.
Dude, you have to see that shit, though.
Yeah.
I saw, like, I didn't lose 30 pounds, but I probably lost about 15. I saw a picture of me tattooing. My neck was cricked to the side, and I had, like, a fucking double chin showing up.
Yeah.
Like, that'll be enough to be like, okay. And then the one thing that really hit me, I went out surfing. The waves are fucking awesome in Florida, and I hadn't been able to go out in the water in a while. And I was like, cool, it's finally the time I can go out in the water. I was in the water for about 20 minutes. And I got gassed. I started getting beat up, waves breaking on top of me. And I've been surfing since I was 14.
Yeah.
That's the first time in my life I felt like I was getting my ass handed to me. I'm like, this can't happen. So
yeah, no shit.
Fucking takes a while, though, dude. It fucking sucks to change your appetite, or change your diet. You love Twinkies and hot dogs and fucking burgers. And then all of a sudden you got to get your shit together.
Yeah, I look back now and I just tell myself like, oh, it's just like I told myself with drugs, right? Like I already did that. I did more than most people would have done in a lifetime in like a 10-year period, drugs and drinking. So it's like, I can't have any more of that because I've done what most people do to their bodies in a lifetime in a much shorter amount of time, right? So like, okay, I just don't have that anymore. Same thing with like food. Now it's like, okay, like, well, like, okay, maybe I had enough Hostess cakes. I don't need those anymore. I ate my fair share of that. But it's even like, I don't know, it's like fucking bacon, Like you find out like it's like all salty, and then like you really think about it, it's like, man, if you look at like there isn't one religion that's like eat that bacon.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
And if there's like if at all, it's like all the different things that people argue about. It's like, can we all just like, we could find some common ground. Maybe we should all stop eating pigs.
I ate a surprising amount of bacon.
No, and I know a lot of people do. Like my kid likes bacon because it has 0 carbs. It's like an easy filler. You know what I mean?
My mom used to cut off the fat off the bacon. She's a nutritionist growing up. So she used to cut the fat off and we get these pencil strips of the brown part of bacon.
Right.
So then when I finally did get to see real bacon, it was in like a 2-gallon bucket at a hotel. And I probably ate probably half of the bucket of bacon and puked it up maybe an hour later. Something like that. But you learn your limits, I guess.
Yeah, fucking don't eat bacon. Like now, just like it was like I was telling you with the eggs thing when the doctor was like, you can't eat, you can only have egg whites because of the heart stuff. And I'm like, bullshit, but then but then it's like then I tell you they're telling me
and
different.
Then they prescribe you a bunch of shit that just I don't know.
They're like it's like a calcium channel blocker. It's like, can I just not have calcium? Like, wouldn't that be the? I just stopped eating dairy. I don't have dairy at all. Like, isn't that the
dude? I mean. I love dairy, man. I mean, depends. It'd be weird. It's weird talking about my health kick. I started drinking raw milk, and then it's funny because Nina makes fun of me because she calls it pet milk. Yeah. But my allergies went away, and I feel good. So
it's just that thing. I think the real thing that people don't discuss is that like, everyone genetically is different, right? So like. This heart shit is like in my family's DNA, like predisposed to probably have it. So I think if we get to a point where it's like, oh, what you could do is you could have testing done when you're a kid, and it would probably give you an idea of like, later. I heard somebody talking about, maybe it was like, I think Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers was talking about how he was a vegetarian or vegan forever. And then he went to this nutritionist lady, and she basically uses your DNA to like perfect your diet based off of like right, but she did it, and like he only eats like certain wild game now and like other things. Like obviously you'd have to be rich as fuck to do some of that, but like
get 10 it changes.
It's like but it like just changed him. He said it changed everything, his like energy level, everything. And so I think that's like, and that's what I'm trying to have done now is they're gonna like look at all my stuff. And then have someone analyze it.
I just think half of it is just kind of trial and error and see what works for you.
Right.
And just do shit that you haven't thought of.
Right.
You know, that you never considered eating earlier, you know.
I think also just making your own stuff. Yeah. Like that's like the most crucial thing is like making the food at home out of like, oh, groceries are expensive. Don't buy shit in a box. That's what I just tell myself. It's like, okay, I'll just buy all the raw ingredients to make this shit myself.
Dude, I'll tell you what, from after camping for 2 weeks straight and cooking food on like open fires for the most part, I feel great. It's awesome. I felt so good. And I'm not trying to knock any food around here, but you know, biscuits and gravy will stuff you up, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't feel it till I got to Kansas City.
Yeah. So, you get here and the first thing Harold says.
I feel bad
Harold's like, you want to go to the Greasy Spoon across? He loves that fucking bar that's across the street from his.
The bar loves him.
Yes. That's like, it's like fucking John Gotti walking into New York City. Harold walks into that, he controls everything in that.
You know what's crazy, dude? While we were eating breakfast this morning, Harold and I and Nina were sitting down, and there's a group of 6 old ladies sitting next to us, and one of them passes out at the table, and they're all kind of freaking out. They're calling the ambulance and all that. Harold and I get into tattoo artist mode. Like Harold's like, well, she didn't eat enough sugar, or, you know, needs a little bit of water, you know. And he and I got up, and Harold like kind of like got her some air. And she started waking up, and Harold's like, "Hey, it's a crazy person to wake up to."
Face tattooed Harold looking at you with them glasses on.
But all of them were so appreciative, and they loved him. It was so awesome to watch that.
And Harold and I, the thing that Harold and I have in common is like when we find something we like, then I don't need to go searching out for a bunch more things I don't like, right? So like he likes that bar, he can go there, he knows what food he likes there. He's got that breakfast spot that he goes to and he likes it and he knows what he can have there. And so those old ladies probably already know Harold. Like,
and they're psyched to see him.
mm-hmm.
I love that. I met Harold through him wanting to. He contacted me with Greaserama to do some art, to have some artwork to put in for the show.
Right.
And after talking with him off and online, and then finally driving out here, me and a buddy of mine drove my C20 pickup. I mean, you remember Eric?
Yeah.
Eric tattooed you a couple times.
Yeah.
And yeah, we stayed in the trailer in the back and fucking stayed at Greaserama and had a blast. It's very rare that you find someone you can just people in general that all of a sudden you just click with.
Right.
And I don't know how everyone clicks so well over just period correct customs, but it happens.
Yeah. Just in cars in general too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, hey, come on up, hang out. And then you hang out and it's like, oh yeah.
And
like,
all those guys, like everyone I've met has been so fucking cool. Like, you know, and I've broken down and I've gotten, you know, help on the spot. And it's like, I don't know anybody else that would fucking do that, especially not really knowing it, you know, knowing somebody that well, you know?
Yeah. Dude, there's all the time where like John Wells knows so many people that like people be coming through Kansas City and they'll break down. He'll like call me like, can you help this person? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like,
John's such a good dude.
Yeah. John rules. The shout out to John Wells every episode. He doesn't, and he won't even hear it because he probably doesn't have time to watch these because he's always putting on comic book conventions now.
I feel bad when I first met John. I think he thinks I'm a jerk because I was pretty wasted.
No, he likes
first
you.
Night of Greaserama.
John likes you.
I was just hungover, and I think I make a bad first
he
impression.
Didn't even. Yeah, he didn't come to town this year. He was on a trip. He took a trip with his dad. Him and his dad went on like a motorcycle trip.
You gotta fucking hang out with your pops. I lost my pops 7 years ago, and I think about him all the time. He would have loved all you guys. He gave me a lot of my nostalgia. You know, I was looking at your hand tattoo. You got you have the Captain America helmet on there. Easy Rider was probably the first movie my pops showed me, and that set the tone for like
everything.
A lot of things in my life. I love choppers. I don't like riding motorcycles. My attention span's too short. I would be in the back of a box truck.
Yeah.
If I did ride a bike.
Yeah.
But
well, it's just like anything you could.
I just love hot rods. I love four wheel. You know, I love four wheels.
Yeah.
But the coolest part of that movie is the scenery in it and them traveling, and that's why I wanted to drive across the entire United States.
Right.
We're up to about 4,000 miles right now in that wagon.
Right.
And
yeah, Nate showed up in his Tri-5 wagon today, and it's got what's it got in it? A 6 liter.
I put a LQ4 engine from a 3500 dually 2001. Put a Z06 cam in it. I rebuilt a T5. It's got a Ford 9-inch. Not a lot of people are happy about that, but it fucking rolls
We
out.
put them in every hot rod shop in the world only uses a Ford 9-inch.
And every bit of working on it 2 days a week for 7 years. I had a ton of buddies that helped me. My buddy Billy back home, he's from Honduras. His pops owned a classic car junkyard, but he just held on to 1930s to like early 80s, like American everything.
Right.
Like probably 5 acres of cars.
Damn.
And he grew up cutting stuff up. I met him by accident one day. And he looked at me. He's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing in this car? You're going to fucking kill yourself. And he's like, his dad had a 56 Nomad. And him and I just got, we just like kind of hit it off. You would fucking love him. He's awesome. But he helped me, learn about LS engines and how to really, build something from the ground up. Because I thought I was doing custom shit, putting Kragers on a Camaro or doing subtle stuff, but it's different, really diving in deep and touching every bolt on the car.
Right.
It's like, it's a completely different thing. I don't know if I would go as far as I did with building the wagon again, because once you start hurting on it, it starts wearing on you a little bit.
Yeah.
But now it's like after scratching it in the woods in the Tetons, I kind of just like, I'm just going to beat on it, I think.
Yeah.
Even with a nice paint
job. It's a nice driver. Yeah. It's not a show car.
Nah, dude.
No, it needs to drive.
If it was a show car, it would be more stressful to me.
Yeah. No, yeah. Look at my van. I drive around in a smashed up van.
But I like the way it looks though, because I used to draw like wrecked cars and stuff. So when I see a dent, I almost see like a story rather than.
And that's what we should. When I first met Nate, he was starting to become very well known because he had this ultra realistic style of drawing, but he would draw like the cars were always crashed, like they looked like photographs of crashed cars, but he would make these collages that were these giant prints, and there were all these smashed up cars.
I just liked, like, you know, when you're watching like a really good movie and like you see, I mean, it's like Mad Max. It's like the car, like in Mad Max 2, the Interceptor gets destroyed. Yeah. Like, oh, God, it makes you feel something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I still think about that car sometimes. You're like, dude, I would have fucking done something with it. You know, but, yeah. And I really love drawing car wreck stuff, but it's like, it's a weird niche. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, like, that's what I always thought, because like
you and I
most people, and most people go to a car show, they're like, oh, look at this artist. He draws cars, and it's like, oh, but they're all smashed up. Like, and people, like, when you think of like somebody drawing cars, it's almost like, oh, they're drawing these like Ed Tilrock, you know what I mean? It's like these perfect, like, photorealistic drawings. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, but can you draw like wrecked car, Ed? Like, that seems like a whole different talent.
You know what though, dude? Ed is so fucking good. If he had the right reference for it,
he probably could.
I think he could.
He would have to have like off of a picture or whatever. Yeah.
But I always thought it was fun to imagine like what it would look like. And it's funny, like one of the first kids books I got when I was a kid was an aunt of mine who wasn't really an aunt. She's like more like a babysitter. She gave me one of my first books was like a black and white picture book of junkyards that just had pictures of cars crunched and stacked. I just thought it looked really cool, and I have that kind of thing stuck in my head. And outside of my grandma's house in the coal mining region of Pennsylvania, they remember before, if you were ditching a car, you just leave it in the woods. So there'd still be 40s and 50s and 70s stuff still back there. And when I was a kid, I was like, this is awesome. You know, dead of winter, there's nothing to do. And then you go walk into the woods, and then you see like a now I would consider like an 80% perfect, like Packard or, you know, Pontiac or Studebaker, things that like in the 90s, you know, guys were really just gearing towards certain Chevys. You know, no one gave a fuck about a 52 or 3 Pontiac Chieftain or anything. But
I just talked last time that with Todd Thompson about how we had my great grandma's Packard in the garage forever when I was a kid, and then one day my grandpa finally sold it.
And you would kill to have that, though.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah, I'd kill to have it.
And it's like it's not
$100,000 car now.
Yeah,
that's the kill to have it.
It's not all about 2-doors, you know.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And that's how it used to be with old school guys, you know. No, it's all good.
Do is one person. Edit that little part out, and we're back. Yeah, no, it's weird. The cars that like weren't popular. Like someone asked me recently about an old car, and they were like looking for something, and they want something like a mid '70s like full size car. You know what I mean?
It's like dime a dozen.
Yeah, I'm like, I told them today. I was like, hey, now's the time to buy one.
Yeah,
and they're like, what? I was like, they're starting to get popular.
Like a no post 4-door.
No, like a 76 Lincoln. Like a mafia boss car. That's what all these like younger kids want. It's like, now's the time to buy that shit. Because that's the shit that their grandparents had, right?
Yeah, true.
Because they're like 20. So we always wanted the shit that our grandparents had. You know? And I think that's how it works. You end up like being into the shit your parents were into at some point. Like,
yeah, my pops had a 70 Camaro, but it was just a base model. I think he put an RS bumper on it or something, and he had SS Nova, a 78 SS Nova with I think it had the hatchback silver with red stripes and the blacked out SS grill. You never see those. But I had a 70 Z28, but it wasn't all original. It was just like but I picked it up for $3,500 in 1999.
Right.
You just know it like original Z. You can't find that.
Oh, dude,
It's in some dude's collection now.
I was talking to Mindy about Chevelles, and we were at this car show, and I was like, yeah, because I'm like working on a deal to where I was going to trade like this Dyna for the labor of like painting this car for a friend, and then I was going to take the Dyna and like Dyna bro it out, and then like, oh, maybe I can trade this for like a Project Chevelle or something that just needs finished up, you know what I mean? Because it'll be a valuable bike then. And she's like, you don't want a Chevelle, I want a Chevelle. I'm like, yo, I've wanted one of these since I was a kid. She's like, what? And I was telling her, when I was a kid, there's a place, it's still there, called Wagner's Classic Cars. And for $3,500 or $4,000, they had a 69. It was the shit green.
Chevelle, not a Malibu?
Malibu.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Malibu.
Green on green?
Green on green, vinyl top, black interior.
Triple P. That's a
354 speed car, though.
Wow.
So it had a floor shift in it.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa. And then my dad's excuse was, it was $2,500, I think. It could have been, it was a couple $1,000, right? Yeah. And my dad's like, you don't need this. You're going to wreck it. It was always like, when my dad was like too, like, for lack of a better word, like too bitch made is like how I would look at it. Like too bitch made to just be like, no. Or he didn't want to like fight with my mom. He would just use my mom as an excuse. Your mother wouldn't want you to have this. And it's like, what do you mean, dude? Another time, this guy owned a bunch of car dealerships in town. He owned a GM dealership. And we went to school with his granddaughter. And she was like, hey, my grandma's trying to sell my grandpa's cars. Caught him cheating on her with the secretary. So I go over there, 67 SS 396 Chevelle.
Rare.
With a 454 put in it. Damn. Floor shift. It had a little bit of it was a little bit of rust. Nothing crazy. They're like, we don't know if it starts. Just give us $2,000 for it. And I was like, what the fuck?
$2,000?
Yeah, it was like $2,500 something. She was selling shit cheap. I grabbed a battery. Me and my buddies grabbed a battery off of a bench. We turned the key, and I took off down the street driving that thing. I called my parents. I'm like, yo, I need that money. I found the car. They're like, absolutely not.
Was there more Chevelles around here because it doesn't rust as much? Because in Florida and Pennsylvania, where it was like, Florida's salt air, fucking ocean, and Pennsylvania's salt roads. So it's like,
we got salt roads here.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they salt roads here. There's just, I think because the GM plant was here.
There's so many cars here, dude.
Like that's because there's the GM plant here.
All right. I didn't know
GM and Ford both have manufacturing facilities here.
Dude, I was telling Eric, which is crazy. I just driving across the country, seeing certain cars. It took me driving within 50 miles of Kansas City to start seeing people driving hot rods.
Yeah.
Like as soon as we got into Missouri, it's like all of a sudden you saw 58 Biscayne driving down the road. Some old dude fucking driving it. You know, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or like, and then we saw, a dude with a 67, was that 68 Impala, the one with the flip up headlights? Maybe that's 69. I can't remember, but the dude was driving it and it looked sick as fuck and it was going down the highway opposite of us. And I woke up saw 55, old dude driving 55 Ford pickup, just casually down the street. People don't drive stuff like that in Florida or anywhere else in the country. Right. Like just driving their shit. Although I'll say we drove all the way from Florida to Tombstone, Arizona. And once we got to like South Texas, and then like, it was just, all you saw was like short bed 4x4 square bodies, solid early 70s, no rust, like, or, perfect early 70s Suburbans all over the place.
Well, there's right now, the reason you're seeing all that stuff is there's like a big market for people, because you can tell people like, before it was like, it's $100,000 to build you a truck.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, I can either go buy a brand new Chevy, or I can take this 78 Chevy I have and have it redone and have a modern drivetrain, all the modern amenities, power everything, AC, all the same shit almost I would have with this brand new car, right?
Yeah.
But I could have
and they
all
drive
that,
great.
right? And they drive great. Dude. I mean, we got a guy, I think it just showed up at work today, the chassis for this 57 Chevy. Dude bought a whole brand new body, bought a brand new chassis, and
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot of money. But it's better and cheaper than buying some old rusted out one and going, okay, well, the frame's not good. Okay, he already has one.
Yeah.
And the frame isn't any good. It's rusted. The body's all rusted. And it's like, oh, we'll just buy a body. We'll use your doors. And now he's going to have a 57 Chevy convertible on a Roadster shop chassis.
Wow.
With an LS motor, with a 9-inch rear.
How much is that guy spending on that?
Oh, probably, all said and done, probably like $150,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but how much is a brand new Corvette?
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you put it in that.
So if a guy can get like a low interest loan, like you're just making a car payment.
But even still, dude, I don't think you need to do that much to have a truck that drives just as good.
No, that's what people are doing. They're owning these trucks and they're going, okay, well, I can buy an LS motor for $2,500.
A Suburban, say you have a 76 Suburban,
right?
You put a fucking LQ4 or one of the early 6 liters in it. You got 400 horsepower.
Yeah.
Thing cooks. And, you'd say a new Expedition, a new Suburban could probably handle pretty decent. But, dude, if you're just driving around, you don't need a slalom course. You don't need to be able to drive in a slalom course to, like, feel good about your truck.
Well, dude, like I was telling you, like, you can get a manual rack and pinion now. You can get... And like
everyone's worried about gas mileage, but like, do you want a payment or do you want a little bit of bad gas mileage? And if you're worried about,
you can get that motor tuned to where it does get good gas mileage.
I got cats on my 57. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but it doesn't stink when we drive down the road. And I like keeping the back window up, and it smells good.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to bitch about me hurting the environment, this is 60 years of recycled parts. With new stuff,
with a motor, and the motor's installed correctly with the emissions on
and catalytic converters. I'm like, it is the epitome of recycling, and if you're driving every day, it's one less car that needs to be produced. You know how many cars you think don't get sold off of a lot?
And they all get sold eventually, but how many of them? It's just like they're not making them to. Now it seems like they're starting to make cars to last again. You know what I mean? But they went through a long period.
Yeah.
Well, cash for clunkers really fucked everything up. I don't know if you remember that.
Dude, I think they want to get rid of stuff.
Deal. Well, they did. They needed to pay. They wanted to get rid of. It's all a scam.
Dude, but like vans are 15 G's now. Because they wanted to get rid of conversion vans and Blazers and Suburbans and all that stuff. And now that's why people are asking crazy money for them, because they used to be everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them everywhere.
Dude, box Chevys, you used to be able to, you couldn't trip and fall into a box Chevy for sale for $2,000 around here. And now you can't even find them barely for $5,000.
Yeah.
But when they did that cash for clunkers, you could trade in any shitty car.
Get 3 G's.
And get like 3 G's towards a new car. So they locked all these people in. Yeah.
To someone who doesn't have the cash and you got shit sitting out in the back of your house.
Yeah, and you can afford a couple $100 a month for a payment and not have to have this car. Like, I seen so many people do that. I was working at a Pontiac dealership. They trade in, dude. There was like 3 Caprice wagons where I'm like, yo, just let me replace that car with a different car.
Yeah,
dude. We literally had to go out there. We drain the oil. We'd go out there, put this additive in there that would and then it would lock the engine up. Then they had to drill holes in the transmission.
Oh my God.
You couldn't take a single part. They had to take photos of the car when it showed up. It was like all these crazy rules. They scrapped all those cars.
Do you remember in Hot Rod magazine, David Freiberger got like a 67 Camaro out of cash for clunkers in California? I don't know how he was able to save it or whatnot.
I'm sure there was like situations like that where they're like, yeah, let me buy $1,000 Pontiac to replace this with,
So that's the deal. You have to just switch.
I think they probably just switch them. But dude, there were so many like 90s cars. It was a lot of cars from the 90s that got scrapped. Scrapped.
Like Tauruses, probably.
Tauruses.
Because you don't see any of those.
You don't see any of those. Dude, there used to be so many SHO Tauruses around here.
You like do 94s. See SHOs now, though.
Right.
Actually, a friend of mine, him and I went to go pick up a car up in Tampa. and he's buying a 61 Ranchero. It's fucking sick. He, the dude who was selling it, it was like an interview to make sure that's like, hey, you know, you're going to like take care of this because I really love this car. I've had it for a long time. I was geeking out over, he had like a 1998 manual SHO that was like in perfect condition.
Right.
Out in the elements. I'm like, dude,
what are you doing?
This. I love this car.
Yeah.
My dad's good friend back in the day used to be obsessed over SHOs. He called my dad one day and he's like, hey, I found this guy that'll convert wagons to SHOs. He's like, he'll give me a deal if you get one too. And I was like, this is going to be sick. We're going to have a fast station wagon.
Yeah.
But it was like a ridiculous number to make it happen, to put that Yamaha engine in. It was a Yamaha.
Yeah. It was like a
with
Yamaha
a 5-speed.
with 5-speed. There was a dude back in the day, I had a Honda CRX.
Yeah.
That
dude.
was like, had a ZC swap in it. That was like my first build I ever did.
Dude, those are rowdy if you put a fucking big motor in there.
Yeah, well, I put a 1.6 liter Japanese.
They came with like what, 1.3 liter?
Yeah, like single overhead. So it was a dual overhead cam, 1.6 non VTEC out of a Honda Integra because Acura is an American company.
Is it the B18?
No, it's called the ZC engine.
Okay.
They didn't manufacture. It was not for American use. It was a Japanese only.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I had this like J-spec motor in a CRX. I took all the heater shit out of it. We built Ram Air.
Oh my
God. It had
God.
MSD ignition. I knew this dude that would like, one guy, some such things happen, and you know, we had to remove a vehicle for a friend who got into a wreck with we did a little insurance operation. And I ended up with all the parts off this car.
Hell yeah.
And so I had MSD, all this other shit. And then I had another buddy that used to he used to rip off Aerospeed, was like the big like aftermarket parts company.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
it turned into Keystone, right?
Wow.
Like Keystone sucked up Aerospeed, but they used to steal they had hijacked Aerospeed trucks. Dude. So I had some drag radials I bought for like $50. They're like $700 tires.
They didn't
you know what
weigh
I mean?
anything. Were they 1,600
Oh, dude, they
pounds?
were super light. But I took all the interior out of it. I only had one seat. I used to roll around. I bought these lightweight steel wheels that
cool.
like had drag radials on them. B&M shift kit. Full exhaust.
I like when they had people put like the pizza slicers on the back and the fat tires up front.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
Yeah, those are cool.
That's what I had, dude. And I used to bracket race it, and I won a couple events. But there's a guy in the SHO that like street racing that like always wanted to street race me. And that car only ran like a 15.3 at the track. But in like 2002,
screaming
2000, if you were in a 15.3 in a Honda, you were doing some shit.
Yeah.
Like to have a 10-second car, people looked at you like, oh my God, this is crazy. It wasn't like it is now where I can buy I could have bought an eBay Turbo and been running 10 seconds in my Honda. You know what I mean? But like, there's dudes that were like on the street for whatever reason. The street's different, right? It didn't matter.
Totally.
Street was different than the track. And I used to smoke all these people that I had no business beating, like because I just drove good, you know. But there was a guy in the SHO that like we would always end up racing that guy.
It's funny what you think used to be fast as shit, and then you drive in it now, like you like want to get it off the bucket list to drive it, and you're like, ah.
I thought that shit was fast until I rode in my buddy Jake, who's been on the show before, Chinsky, his dad and his uncle are the ones that like got me into building shit, right? Like I was into it. We had a couple buddies. One of them had like a Superbird, like a Thunderbird with the supercharger. And like that kid's dad, his parents were like way older. He was like an accident. But my buddy Adam, his dad had like a 67 Camaro that he only drove like 5,000 miles, bought it brand new.
Oh, wow.
It was like a RS SS, you know what I mean? And he had a Buick Grand National. So, like, I grew up around these people that had, like, rad shit. Like, there's always people with cool shit around me. But, fuck, I don't even know where I was going with that.
No, what was stuff that's fast? Or you don't think it's fast? So
I thought I was going fast until, like, Tim and Scott had this fucking Vega station wagon that was tubbed, mini tubbed, and it had this like crazy 355 with a 2-speed in it. And we were working on it and getting it running. It was piss yellow. it had those side windows were etched good vibrations on it. It was all they had a cage in it and everything. Tim's like, get in, Ty, and I'll give you a ride. And I'm like, all right. So I get in, and Tim had like a real deal drag car back, like still has it, the Rabid Rat.
So he knows what he's doing.
So he knows what he's doing. And we got in there, and it was probably a 10-second car back then.
Holy shit.
And at that time, that's like when Fast and the Furious was out talking about 10-second cars, right?
Rowdy.
So I'm in this car, and I'm like, oh my god, and we're driving down the highway, and I'm freaking out, and I'm looking over at him, and Tim's just like, as simple as can be, like it's no big deal, just fucking slap her into overdrive. But that was when I rode in that car, I was like, oh, that's fast. And then after that, like I'm not a big go fast guy. Like I'd rather, like that's what I like about the vans. Like
perfect,
it's
reliable.
Like, I want to be able to crush the highway, and I want to be able to like cruise the city.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about racing you at a light. I mean, sometimes with that 4-speed in the floor, I go, man, I wish I had a V8.
It's a 4-speed. It is van.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing I probably got the most excited about. I'm like thinking about what kind of shifters we need to get going on.
I pull up next to people in like a Charger, like a new Charger, even though it's just the straight 6. I'll like rev it up a little, and then I'll take off, and I just at the next light I'll look at it and be like, you got a Dodge. This here's a Mopar, bud. And they're like, what? I'm like, it's fucking with you, dude. But I dig it. I've thought about putting a V8 in that. I thought about trying to figure
dude, Slant 6 is a great fucking engine.
Then they're in Australia. There's this Australian company. They build like turbos and intakes and crazy stuff for that Slant 6.
The only thing that always confused me with those is like they don't look like they would be economical, because the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold are like almost kissing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would think
that's how all inline 6s are, though.
But you would, but on that one, the cast manifolds, I mean, they're intercrossing like that.
They make a header, and I was looking. There's a Fenton intake on Marketplace a while ago for $300. I should have tried to buy it, but so you can put like a 4-barrel on it.
Yeah,
because that thing really needs more fuel than it's getting. But I was like, yeah,
I had a
like 72, a 400 4-barrel would probably be perfect for that.
Perfect. You could probably get away with a 500.
Yeah.
With jetted right. The thing that I had a 72 Dodge Dart Custom. It wasn't anything crazy, but I picked it up for $2,000 in Orlando. The guy had gotten it off another dude who had driven it on Air Force Base for 25 years.
Whoa.
So it had Air Force Base sticker on there. And it was canary yellow with butter yellow with a white vinyl top. Good to see you, bud.
Yeah. Now I can see you. There's probably we're sitting here. I don't even know if that light was on the whole time. Who knows? It's probably off for half of it.
Dude, we were talking about Slant 6s.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to diverge from it because I do love that engine.
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't know if it gets that hot here, but this old dude came up to me, and I was having a little bit of a fuel boiling issue because it's so hot in Florida. You know, it's a light colored car. It was like a buttercream color. And it wouldn't get too hot from it being dark or anything, but I think it was just getting too hot underneath the hood. The dude told me, he's like, why don't you put a 1/4-inch wood spacer on there? I'm like, wood spacer? I'm like you talking wood? I found a 4-barrel, like a small 4-barrel wood spacer, and it dropped the temps on the carb. You could drive for an hour and hold your hand on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it drove. That was the most perfect setup I ever had. It never, always turned over, never had a problem with it.
Yeah, I have a car. I don't have a choke hooked up right now because it had a manual choke, but it's not supposed to have a manual choke. Like it should have had an electric choke. So I need to find. I got to do something soon. I was thinking about
get the Edelbrock with the electric choke.
Eric. I think the factory carburetor had an electric choke. So Eric found some company in Florida that's where he got the carb for his Chevy.
Yeah.
And it's like all the same exact original factory one.
Shit.
So it has all the hookups for your linkage and everything on it.
That's so awesome.
So I need to hit those guys up and be like, hey, this is what I have. What is supposed to be on this motor? Like, was an electric choke.
It'll probably run better than something was meant for it.
And I did the same thing with the Chevy I had. I had a 65 Chevy, and I found a company similar to that made sure I got the exact same carburetor. Just bought a replacement. That was it's a reman. You know what I mean?
Funny? Like it's like if you they did so much R&D with their engines. Back in the day. It really wants to run the way they came from factory. A lot of times.
Well, that's why they don't make any. They don't make a lot of parts. Like there's certain parts they don't really make for those, like the flywheels. Like you have to change all this shit up. You have to go to like you have to buy like a $600 flywheel to replace the flywheel in that thing because they don't make a factory style one because they're all still on the road.
I didn't know. Yeah.
The Slant 6 it wasn't known. It was a super reliable.
Yeah.
Just like those 4-speed. Dude, I bought that transmission. It was like I found that transmission on a marketplace ad for like $200.
$200.
It was all the way out by Topeka. And in the ad, I had noticed that there was like a hole drilled in the bottom of the case. And the guy told me, I got it at Pick and Pull. And I was like, because they drill holes in them instead of it's fucking stupid. They don't take the plugs out of the manuals. They drill a hole in it because they can't have fluid into that shit.
So what did you do, JB Welder or some shit?
No, I tapped it and put another plug in there.
That'll do it, yeah.
Instead of welding it up.
I'm letting you know how Florida does it.
Right.
I guess.
Because it was like a decent sized hole. So we drilled it out and tapped it.
I didn't know how big it was.
And I put a pipe plug in there and sealed it up. You know what I mean? But
it can drain now.
But you know what I mean, I'm like the Craigslist whisperer, dog. Yeah. I'm the marketplace whisperer. I went over there and I told the guys like, yeah, that's exactly it. It's the exact length. It's all right. Dude. Had the shifter. It had the factory. Not B&M. Who's the shift company? Hurst. As Hurst made all those shifters for so it had a factory Hurst shift kit on it, shifter.
Damn.
And I was like, cool. So it had I didn't need to buy any of that. So that's like $1,000 in shifting equipment. Correct. But I loaded the thing in the van, and then at that point I think I talked him down a little to like 160 because I drove all that way. And then after we were sitting there, I was like, oh fuck, there's a hole in the bottom of it. And he's like. He looked at it, he goes, fuck, you're right.
What did you say, $50 or something?
And I'm like, well, it's in the van. He's like, yeah. He's like, how about $80? He's like, that's cool with me. I'm like, all right. Dude. So I got it for $80.
Dude, you just said it. I tell everybody everything I found everything I love with the exception to Nina on Craigslist. I found my wagon on Craigslist. I found Blazer on Craigslist. I found couple other cars that I've owned on Craigslist that I love. A lot of the accessories that I found, vintage Kragers, are on Craigslist. And everyone's like, oh, Craigslist is sketchy. I'm like, listen, if you're the person that you can call up, you don't have to meet them somewhere to interview them about what their knowledge is on it. Like if they let you know that they know about the parts that they're selling you, that's all you need to know. Because
Craigslist is just where. Remember when Craigslist came out and then there was the dudes that still used the newspaper to put ads in?
Yeah, Jesus.
So
penny pincher or
whatever. Yeah. Even the regular newspaper, you could take a for sale ad out, right? Like that's how you used to find that stuff. Pre-internet.
Yeah.
Well, those guys that were still holding onto the newspaper are just now doing Craigslist. Yeah. And then Marketplace is a whole other realm that just blows their mind.
I get excited when there's no pictures.
Oh yeah,
because it's like
when there's no picture. I know dudes that sell cars. No picture. It'd be like an $80,000 car, no photo. Like if you really want to buy this, you got to hit me up to see what it looks like. Everyone else is
so lazy that like a lot of people won't look that up. And I have a friend on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, but he set up an algorithm to detect when stuff comes up on Marketplace. To alert him the second it comes up. Yeah. So you're fighting with people over stuff. Like, I don't want to be heartbroken when I see something cool and I can't get it. Yeah. Whereas on Craigslist, I'm like, maybe you wait a couple weeks and maybe a couple people call them the bullshit. But it's like, you can find cool stuff you find cooler stuff that way. Facebook's like a lot of letdowns sometimes. But I found... Like the our 76 K5 Blazer, Nina found that like last minute when we were up in northern Florida pulling parts out of this old dude's backyard. It was like a jungle of C10 parts that were just overgrown. And she's looking on Craigslist. I'm like, can you look around here and see what else is around, here? Because this dude had a lot of stuff, but it was all crusty.
Right.
So it was like, I was like trying to find stuff that like, maybe I could polish a stainless or something and get something good out of it. It just wasn't happening. She's like, there's a Blazer for $5,700 in Apollo Beach, which is an hour from there, with a 454 in it. And the dude saying that he doesn't have a garage space for it. So he's got to get rid of it. We drove an hour to get there. It was this like Southern old dude who used to be like military. He has this like Dolly Parton kind of wife come out. It's like speaking for him. She's like, I just want to let you know that we're serious to sell the car. And if you don't want to buy it, then, we've got options.
Yeah.
And dude's like, I want to show you the car. It's a little rough. He opens the door. He's pointing at rust like this. He's going to see it's got little bubbles here in the inside of the door. And then on the top of the drip rail is just, it's not as good as I'd like it to be. I go up, there's a couple little bumps. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this isn't good. I'm giving him this isn't good. And I was like, what's your bottom dollar on it? He was adamant on $5,700. And I knew that was a good deal, especially this was 9 years ago.
Okay.
And
so 9 years ago, that's a good deal.
Or it was eight or 9 years ago.
That's a good deal. Right now, that's an insane
deal. Before square bodies were getting busy, and so 76. So it was the first year of the hard top, like over the front two seats and the cap on the back. We really wanted to get a 73 full convertible. Nina wanted the hard top. So this was like, she was like psyched that this was hers. And I told him, I was like, dude, I got a couple $100 I can give you. Can you wait 2 weeks so we can come up with the cash? Cause I didn't have $5,700 then. So Nina had a 92 short bed Silverado, triple black. Yeah. We sold it in a week to this young kid who's super psyched about it. He's like, I'm going to shave the bumpers. Yeah. I'm going to,
do all this
new
shit.
Paint. It had 280,000 miles on it. The rings were blown. The kid's like, I'm putting a new motor on it. Gave us $3,800. Yeah. For a short bed black 92 Silverado, which now I know that how much those are. Yeah. It's like, I can't believe we sold that for $3,800.
But at the time, that was good money for it.
Did that, put our cash together, gave him the rest of the cash. We drove up there. I pulled the drive. Actually, it didn't have, you couldn't take it out of 4-wheel drive. So we drove it 70 miles an hour down the interstate back to our house in 4-wheel drive.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. The pipes he had were coming straight out the back. So we put down the window. We're just huffing exhaust the entire time. You know what I mean? So we got back to the house. I pulled the front drive shaft and we're like, we're going to drive this as a 2-wheel drive for the meantime because you can't do it. All of a sudden got 12 miles a gallon instead of 6. Yeah. It's, people would call it a mall crawler, but it's so rad to drive and it hauls ass, Yeah. It's awesome. But I got to take it apart this winter because Florida's like eating away at it a little bit now in bad spots. Like the bottom of the front windows is.
I bought one of those once.
They're sick, dude.
But mine was a 2-wheel drive.
Wow.
Jimmy. Rare. 81 Jimmy.
Full convertible?
Not full convertible. It was an 81.
Still rare. Still super
removable rare. Fiberglass top on the back. Hatchet Man. It had the electric back window, you know? Yeah. Fucking, it had a Hatchet Man ICP sticker that was the full length of the window. Like the biggest Hatchet Man you've ever seen. The car was primer gray. The guy comes out, he had the car listed for like, I think $3,000, $4,000. Wow. It's slammed. It's this high off the ground. That's the front bumper is. It's got the Warbird center lines that have the bird, like the fucking Nazi bird holding the C and the L. You know what I mean? You know which wheels I'm talking about? Yeah. It had those wheels on it, all billet aluminum, right? Like decent size. I think it was like 18-16 combo, maybe something like that. Yeah. And then it was like kind of had interior, not really. It had the seats and shit.
I feel like every used Blazer has half of
maybe
interior.
It had the carpet. I don't remember, but it had receipts for he just had a transmission put in it, right? He just had a GM, one of those Goodwrench 350s put in it. One of those crate motors.
3Gs.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy deal. The dude had ICP. He was probably going to prison or something in hindsight. I don't know. But like titled everything, right? Like primer gray. Whole thing was primer gray. And then he's like, yeah, it won't shift out of second gear. And I was like, okay, let me test drive it. And so we test drove it and we went around the corner and we got it. And we're like, okay, it's not shifting. We got back and we noticed that the vacuum was off of the advance, like for the transmission. Yeah. So the vacuum hose wasn't hooked up. And so we're sitting there and there was one hole of rust on the very bottom under where the kick up is in the back, like for the back seat, you know, it was a hole, a quarter-sized hole this big. It was like a tiny little hole. Nothing. Talked him down to $1,800. And I said, okay, thanks. I'm going to try to get it back to Bonner. He goes, you sure you don't want to get a tow truck? I said, no, it'll be good. We hit the corner. It needed exhaust. The exhaust was roached on it. They put the old exhaust back on when they put the motor in. Dude, went around the corner, hooked that vacuum up, proceeded to haul ass to my buddy's dad's house. Tim, same kid his dad still owns the truck now. His dad ended up buying the truck from me for $4,000. Wow. I paid $150, had dual exhaust put on it right down the street from where I live right now. That's here, cool. Right down on 7th Street. Dude, we drove that thing everywhere. Our buddy Richard,
Did you keep the ICP stickers on it?
Oh, no, I took that off day one. That's what I was going to say, dude. My buddy Jake, his uncle Scott, like there's this other kid, Richard McComb. And Richard's still a friend. I just ran into him a couple weeks ago. Dick ruled, but like for some, I don't know if Scott went out on a date with his mom and it didn't go well, or for some reason something happened, and like Scott was always wanted us to fuck with Richard. Like if Richard wasn't with us, Scott, like we went to Scott's house one day, the top was off. It took 4 people to get the top off.
Yeah, it's heavy.
So we took the top off. We were out cruising around in it, right? And like we go to Scott's house and Scott had like 12 fax machines, like giant fax machine copiers. He's like, hey, I need you guys to get rid of these. And we're like, what do you want me to do? We're like using Scott's shit to polish my truck wheels, you know? He's like, here, we'll load them up. He's like, help me. It took 2 people to carry these things. He's like, here's $20.
Old fax machines are heavy.
Go throw these in Richard's front yard and make sure they block the driveway. So we go to Richard's mom's house and like block her driveway with trash. And then there would be a phone call. And Scott would think it was the funniest thing, dude. And I never have asked him, like, why would you always want us to, like, it like made me wonder, like, did you like go out with Richard's mom and it didn't go well? Like, yeah, now you're just trying to fuck with this lady. It was like, I also watched Richard one time. My favorite story of Richard was like me and Dick hung out all the time. He was into Hondas. I had Hondas. And, one day he had this car stereo amp, and like we're young, dude. We're like in high school, and he's like, they were freshmen when I was a senior. All these cats. But he's got this car stereo amp, and I'm like, he's like, I want to see if it works. I'm like, well, just hook it to your car battery. He's like, no, I'll just do this. He cuts the cord off of his alarm clock. I'm like, what do you do? I was like, I don't think you can do this, Richard.
Plug it into the wall?
And he puts one into the power thing or one into the ground thing. And he goes over to the wall, dude, holding this amplifier and goes, boom, and it goes, boom. And it blows him like he flew across the room. And I'm like, holy fuck, Richard's dead. And he like gets up. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And he like, the whole wall was burnt. Like we were trying to like make the wall not look burnt before his mom got home. Oh my God. And I was like, I think there's a difference in those power sources, dude, my guy.
I was always scared of fucking doing any electrical stuff because it's like invisible danger. You know what I mean? And it's like it's either like you get zapped or you're fucking something up that you paid money for.
I got zapped. I got zapped on a Saab a couple months ago off the coil. Oh, I was just like, I'm like, shut it off. And they quit cranking on it. And they're like, are you all right? And then one of my buddies like got in my head. He's like, dude, you go into A-Field? I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. I'm having problems with all that. Like,
Saab probably has a solid, consistent
dude,
electrical
it would
pulse.
fuck me up. It was heavy. There was a heavy dose on that car.
That's funny.
Newer car.
I think the first time I got electrocuted was when I was plugging in a radio in like an outdoor socket to the house to like turn on, like when I was like going swimming in the pool. And you open up to the side and you put it in.
Yeah.
I think I jumped in the pool. I jumped in the pool and I jumped out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to put the radio on. And I was holding on to the prongs.
Yeah.
Just sit there for a
Zoinked
second.
you. Yeah.
Didn't do it again,
Yeah, fuck no. You get zoinked off of house power? That'll zoing you up, dude.
That's right.
That's Zoing City.
Yeah. Luckily, no more injuries since then, so...
Yeah, I've cut myself or beat the hell out of myself on a weekly basis at work now. So it's building cars. You always lived in Florida? Is that where you were born?
Yeah, dude. I grew up in Pennsylvania,
in
Philadelphia. I was there till I was 18. And Philadelphia it's like, it wasn't like there's a huge car scene, but it's like everyone was so amped to like get stuff out like when in the non-winter months when all the salt is gone. So it's like you'd have like cool old Italian dudes that would have like hot rod, a lot of tri-fives, like roadsters and stuff like that would have them in the garage like ready to fucking break them out like once it got warm out and everything. So it's awesome car scene there. And then I actually went to art school in Sarasota in 2002, and Sarasota then was like a small like empty beach town with like old people that live there. I just love the beach. I grew up at the Jersey Shore, surfing since I was a kid, and I just wanted to kind of like. That school was like where all kids who are artists that also like to be outside like wanted to go to. So it's like all of a sudden like you had like a lot of people that you all kind of got along with and all like did art, but also like to go outside. It was like a cool vibe that was a little bit different than anywhere else. But I was the only one that was like, there's like me and like two other dudes that was in the cars. There's like a dude who had brought a 71 Firebird down with the worst flames you've ever seen on it.
Right.
And then there's another dude that had like, I think he was like a rich kid that had like a basically perfect 1970 Z28 with like some fucking hot motor that he drove like once a week, And I didn't have a car for 2 years, but then the first old car I bought down there was a 72 Beetle that was slammed on its nuts, narrowed front beam 3 inches, a little bit of rake I bought it off an old dude that had it towed behind his Winnebago, so it had Winnebago stripes on the side. It was like brown, tan, and purple. And then the car was like cream colored. And everyone hates 72s because they got the half moons and the quarters like on the back. So instead of trying to make it look like an early car, I just wanted to like make it look cool as like a mid, early 70s. So I got like all the 70s like empty like parts to put on it, so it looked like it's like how you would have built like an empty Bug in like the early 70s. I drove that for 4 or 5 years, drove it from Daytona and back probably 40 times.
Sick.
And I had a freeway flyer trans from a 78 Beetle in it, so it would do 75. And I used to always drive at 2 a.m, so I just have the highway to myself. So just
cruising,
just cruise there. And the only time I ever broke down was when I drove there during the daytime, which I thought jinxed me. I had points in it. I broke down, points fried on the side of the road. I called AAA. They miraculously come in fucking 15 minutes. Nobody ever comes in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Right. But so.
No, you're right. Usually much quicker.
Yeah, that's right. So he drops me off at a gas station. And I swear to dude, as soon as he drops the Bug off into a parking spot, this old dude in a work truck comes up. He's like, "What kind of Beetle you got? What's your issue?" I'm like, "Oh, points fraud." He's like, "You got $7 on me? Or $7 on you?" I give him $7. He runs down to a parts store, picks up a pair of points. He's like, "You mind if I put them on? I haven't done this in a while." He throws on my points, gets me going, runs better than it did before. And I'm out in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Jesus.
Like, if I was driving a BMW, dude, I would still probably be on the side of the highway.
Yeah, today. Like, yeah, you guys, you were like, yeah.
But
oh, man.
No AC. The only thing to stay cool in Florida is like try to get light interior. I put white seat covers on it, and it was my favorite car. It was probably one of the favorite cars I ever had.
Yeah, the Dodge didn't have that. I just got the vent windows. That's it.
Yeah, dude, that's all you need. Especially
there was a couple days where it was like we had a couple 100-degree, like consistent, like every day it was in the hundreds for like 2 weeks. And during that time, I was like, yeah, it's just way too hot to even drive.
Yeah,
like, even my Safari didn't have AC either. I tried to fix it, but I wasn't going to replace every part.
I swear when I didn't have AC in the wagon, I drove faster all the time because I was just trying to keep myself cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like 2 weeks where me and Junior, we just stayed up. Like, I worked until like noon. Everybody left work at like noon or 1 o'clock because it was 95 in the shop when I showed up, you know?
Yeah.
And then like we all left work early. I came here and we hung out in the basement because it was like upstairs it was 87
I know, it's
degrees.
Kind of cool down here.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude, because it tripped me out that we're doing this in the basement.
Yeah.
In Florida, there's like zero basements. There's just sand underneath you. So it's like to be in a basement.
You can't have a basement, right?
No, dude. I mean, the water comes up from the bottom.
Right.
You know, you're just building on sand out there.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. I love it, though. It's like living on an expanded Gilligan's Island all the time when there's minimal rules, you know?
Yeah. So you never left Florida then?
Nah.
You just stayed.
Everybody else wanted to go to New York City and do their thing and try to become like famous artist. I knew that Sarasota was going to become something rad and bigger than what it was, but I didn't know that it was going to become what it is now. A lot of people with money are moving there, and it's like, it's hard for me to leave because the money is really good. I love it there. I have a lot of great friends, but it's like I do miss that hot rod car culture. I have a lot of friends that drive like traditional like 70s lowriders that are an hour north of me.
Yeah,
and guys that do build cars, but it's like, you got to wait for that one big, 2 big days out of the year when we all come together and just bullshit about cars,
Yeah. So if you leave Sarasota, are you going to stay in Florida or are you going to?
No, I'm not. Dude, I'm staying.
Yeah, you're staying. Yeah,
I'm staying. I'm visiting everywhere else though.
Have you?
I love
can't
Sarasota.
you like, because that's like year-round cruising there, right?
Yeah, dude.
So
that's what people don't realize, dude.
You could also set it up because like Nate's also a tattoo artist now. That's what he like ended up doing with his art degree, which is probably the best thing you could do with tattooing. That's like the working class of art school. It's like tattoo artists,
dude,
right?
But if you think about it, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like especially with AI coming out. Like making like you can make your own images, you can make a collage like on the spot,
Yeah.
Like I
use AI. I signed up for the service, like all those shorts I've been making, those clips of my show, of my podcast. That's all. I load the video into this AI
and
program.
They do that.
It chops it up.
See, now that's different though.
It puts the subtitles on it for you because what it cost for me to have that done. Like the amount of money I paid was like cheaper than me sitting there and making one clip time wise, because the amount of time it would take to take the footage and like now if I have like I'm working on things and I continue, and anybody that's watched consistently has seen we upgraded to microphones, we upgraded to a different camera, we upgraded with lights, and it's been like a slow.
Nice
well,
stuff.
It's like camera, lights, camera, mics. We got the sign now. Like,
this is sick.
The set looks good. I'm still adding stuff to it, but like the next thing is like I want to add 2 more cameras. So
side by side.
So I can cut, like I can be like the close up of you while you're talking. Once I do that, making those shorts will be easy.
Yeah.
Because I'll already have the angles cut. You know what I mean?
It looks so good in here. I love it. This is 1,000% you. I told him the only thing you needed to add was like a little house plant on top. Because it's like, I like textures. So it's like, you got a little bit of everything. You feel like you just need like a little cactus here or something. I found these
plants that like, it's like a head, right? And then it looks like the hair is growing. No, it's like some weird little palm plant. But I was like, oh, maybe I need to buy one of those. Yeah. But that's why I wanted to put up there. Because I got to get some chain to hang that off the ceiling because I can't drill into the wall. So I got to hang the sign. I'm going to have the sign suspended. And then I want to put... Dude, you saw my crap. I have so much crap. And the old set was different because it was just in my living room. Like the original setup.
No, this is awesome. This is rad. You can even get like one of those little... Do you remember like Mr. Rogers had a little train that came around the side?
Yeah.
It was like custom... or fan mail.
Yeah.
Dude,
this is almost like Mr. Rogers. That's why that wall over there is done
this is
in
not
a
like
different
Mr.
color.
Rogers. This is like if Mr. Rogers like ate a bunch of acid.
Mr. Rogers tripping neighborhood.
That's right. Yeah.
This is Mr. Stevens. He was Mr. Rogers'
And he was into
neighbor.
conversion vans and Black
Mr.
Sabbath.
Manson's
That's right.
neighborhood.
Yeah. No, this is.
But
rad.
it rules, like this spot rules. I got that driveway out back, so I can like the cars aren't on the road.
Perfect
You know what
amount
I
of
mean?
space, dude.
Yeah,
Makes a difference having a fucking garage and some space where you can hold parts, man.
dude. Even having like that TV, like that big ass TV, like I would never, dude. I bought a big ass TV once, it got robbed a week later immediately.
Dang.
Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
3 years to the day that I got charged with aggravated robbery. I'm in the first house I rented on my own as an adult, right? All by myself. Rented it like in a bad part of town because it was all I could afford. But I used to run the streets there, so I thought I was cool. I found out real quick I wasn't so cool anymore because I got robbed twice in 1 week. But it was 3 years to the day. I think it was two or 3 years to the day that I got charged with aggravated robbery. To the day. The exact day. I come home and I'm like, I opened the door and didn't really think of it. And it was just like, hold on. Like, what is... The
Dude,
door,
everything
the door
happens
was
for a
unlocked
reason.
and it's like, what is missing? It's like, where's my TV? Oh, shit. Where's my Xbox? Oh, shit. Where's my... Christmas presents that were still wrapped up that someone gave me. Oh, those are gone. Like everything.
No mercy.
No mercy, dude. No mercy.
Dude, everything fucking happens for a reason. It's but you haven't had to have it. Hadn't happened again, right?
No, after that, I just laughed about it. I was like, I realized what day it was, and all I could do was laugh. Then the cops like foiled like getting like they didn't take any of the information down right, like. One of the guys had like a Sportster chopper and I knew him and he acted like he didn't know who I was. I was
What
like,
the fuck?
I was like, oh, you're being a bit of a bitch, aren't you here, fucking Joey?
Why
like,
did you do that? Did you didn't want to get involved or something?
I don't know. Cause he was with another cop and he didn't want the cop to know that like, you know, the first thing they do is they run you when you show up somewhere.
Yeah,
so they're like,
yeah,
oh, this
true.
guy's probably I'm sure in their head, this probably a fraud. This guy probably robbed himself. And it's like, why would I steal my own stuff? I don't have any renter's insurance. This is the worst fraud job ever. There's no one to defraud. What's the point? Why you're just gonna catch me. Why would I turn myself in?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, last time I got something stolen from me, someone stole a piece of artwork from me. I was so bummed. We did a trip like 4 years ago, and I did a piece of artwork. It was called the Florida Flavor. I spent like fucking 3 weeks drawing it. I come back and it was gone. I know for a fact that I didn't lose it.
yeah.
And I never. And I was like, I just wonder. I'm like, where the fuck? Who the fuck? would
Whatever
steal
happened to
artwork?
that?
Like, you just
Yeah.
Find it.
One time, my old van got broken into, like right before I hit the full
brown
downward
one?
spiral.
You talking about?
The primer gray one.
Oh yeah.
That might have been before you.
I think I saw pictures of that.
You probably saw. It was just like my brown one, but it was primer gray. And somebody broke into it, and they stole like it was weird, dude. Like I had like they stole some of I had my original Black Magic shirts in there, and then like they took a couple. They just threw everything outside of the van. Yeah, like. It was like weird shit missing. You know what I mean? Like they didn't try to steal the van, which I thought was weird. I always thought it was something new, but they stole like I had my like
it would have been personal.
My jean vest was in there, and it had like my band logo on the back of it and shit. And it's like, where's that? Where's all this stuff at? Where's my stuff? Like, where I never found that vest. I always was like, one day it'll show back up. You know what I mean? But I really think it was just like there's some people that were homies that were mad at me at the time because I was kind of a shithead back then. I was doing like some shitty things. I was on the shitty
this is
spiral.
Small town, dude.
Yeah.
I fucking bombed up and down Harold's shop, and I've probably talked to 5 or 6 people that are like, "Oh, I saw you driving." I'm like, "Man,
dude,
what?"
that ain't even a small town, bro. I went out. My buddy Luke lives in Goff, Kansas, and it's like northwest of Topeka, and he's a farmer, and we went to his sister's house in maybe it's Seneca, Kansas. But dude, I had this like Ford Fusion that a couple of years ago I had this like little shitbox Ford Fusion 4-cylinder, 5-speed. It was a manual, you know what I mean? Great gas getting car, right? And I was going out there to like work on his sister had this Jeep Scrambler that I painted the front clip already, and I went out there to put the graphics package on it and then do the like I sprayed like a bed liner on the whole inside floor and everything. Yeah. And we were doing that, and like after that we went to his sister and brother-in-law's house. His brother-in-law's a mortician. They own like the funeral home in town and shit. And they were joking. They were like, for sure, I'm pretty sure that like someone called and was like, who's the dude with Wyandotte County tags sitting at your place? And it's like, what? And I was like, he's like, oh, if you get pulled over by the police, just tell them that you were at Bill Love's house. And I'm like, he's like, I'm being serious. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, this is creeping me out. Like, fuck? Like what am I gonna get pulled over for? You know what I mean? I can't get pulled over out here. I tried not to. Another time we were coming back.
He just wanted to smell you. He was just like, what's the outside world like?
Yeah, no, they get around, like, but it's just like that community's so tight knit that when I drove into town, somebody made a phone call and was like, who's the guy from Wyandotte County? Like, just from like seeing you know what I mean? It's like, well, also I look kind of wild. I was lurking around the old downtown for a minute to see what was going on. It was a cool place.
Suspicious as fuck.
It was a cool place. I probably did look suspicious.
What the fuck is he doing?
One time we were coming back from this, we were on our bikes and we were coming back, me and my buddy Troy. I was still on parole, and Troy is an old timer. He's an old con. But we were coming back from central Kansas, down like an old highway. And all of a sudden, like, there's a cop behind us, like, oh shit. And Troy just looked at me. He's like, and then he just got in the middle of the road and blocked the cop and slowly slowed down while I just ripped shit up the highway, found a place to hide. You know what I mean? Troy's like, yeah. He's like, got a ticket. I'm like, what? He's like, fucking $400. And then he showed up. He's like, no, I didn't get no ticket. The cop let me go. He said, your friend's a real asshole, huh? I said, you better believe it, bud.
That's so funny.
But I was
the cool thing about cops is like a lot of them are car guys for the most part. So it's like I feel like if you're driving something cool,
yeah,
like none of them mess with you.
I was on that. I had my FXR then, so we just looked like we were on two. We were hauling ass, right? But like. Anytime in the van, in the old green van, in whatever,
it's like high
nobody,
fives and peace signs, you know?
They don't fuck with you. I got pulled over the other day in my blue van.
The Astro's different,
dude. This dude had pulled over 5 people in 10 minutes. He's like, you didn't have a seatbelt on. I did the old. As soon as I drove past him, he gave me the eyes, and I was like, oh, this guy's pulling me over for something. He didn't like the way I look, so I put my seatbelt on real quick, and I swear I gaslit the shit out of this dude, but he pulled me over, and I was just like. He's like, you didn't have a seatbelt. You're not wearing yours. I was like, what's the problem? He's like, your seatbelt. I was like, what seatbelt? And he goes, what? I was like, I have a fucking seatbelt on. He goes, you didn't have it on. I was like, I'm wearing my seatbelt, right? And he's like, you weren't wearing it when I saw you. I'm like, so you're telling me you could tell if I had a seatbelt on when I just drove past you going down the road? I was like, you were looking into my eyes. You were burning into my soul. I saw the dumbass look on your face. Like, that guy I'm going to pull over. And he's like, no, you didn't have it on. And I was like, well, how does the law work? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I'm pulled over. Did you see me put it on? He goes, no. I was like, so you can't prove that I didn't have it on.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, no. It's like, okay, so what are we doing here then, guy? Like, you lost. I won. I won this round. He comes back with a warning. He's like, I'm giving you a warning. I was like, for what? Nothing. He's like, for seatbelt. I'm like, I'm not taking that. I have a seatbelt on. I don't need to be warned. I'm wearing the thing. But I know that guy was probably the rest of the day. It's like one of those small victories you have when you like run into the police and whatever, man. I'm like sort of like, I've changed my attitude mildly on all that. Like,
dude, everyone's just trying the best they can.
Yeah, dude. And like there's like, I mean, I can bitch about cops and say there's
good and bad ones.
Or always. I can do what I'm doing, working with that athletic league and help some kids, but then also
dude,
like gives me the opportunity to like, I almost got into a straight up fist fight with a KCK cop at the grocery store. And Like, we were going to throw blows because he was harassing this homeless dude. I was like, leave him alone,
See,
man.
that's unnecessary.
And right, the dude he's a new cop. He's just on
Dude,
one.
the younger cops are the ones that have the biggest chip on their
Right,
shoulder
right.
because they're trying to prove something. All the older dudes that have been in it, it's like those are the calm, cool, and collected ones. They're not trying to like make a situation.
Yeah. And that guy, like a week later, like he wrote my tag number down. So that's when I had to get the tag for the damn green van.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck, this dude wrote my tags down. Now they're going to harass me. But a week later, I just walked up and was like, hey, you want to start over? He goes, yeah, maybe I was going a little hard. I was like, you think? You banned 72 people from the communist grocery store. And like we have a co-op up the street. He must have banned Andrew, the manager I know. Andrew's like, that guy's banned 60 people in the last week.
God.
He's like, I had to talk to him. I'm like, yeah. But since then, me and that dude, we're on decent
Sometimes
terms.
just gotta talk it out. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, Nina and I got pulled over in my wagon on the border of Texas and New Mexico. Last time we drove across the country, I was booking.
Yeah.
And it was right when I put the 9-inch in the back of the wagon. I see red and blues in the back of my rearview mirror about a mile back. We are in the middle of fucking nowhere, so you can't even tell that there's like a cop anywhere.
Right.
So I see him. I'm like, that's definitely for us because there's nobody fucking out here. This road is so fucking sick. I'm blasting down here because it looks like the beginning of Knight Rider. You know what I mean? That fucking scene. So I pull over. I'm waiting for him to catch up with me. He comes up. He gets out of the truck. And he's like looking at my wagon. It was like white and primer red. Then,
right.
You know, he's looking at it and he's like looks in the back window. It's all dusty and dirty, and there's like pillows in the bed in the back with the topper, the topper on the top. And he looks at the car, and I'm sitting there with a shit-eating grin, hanging out the front window because I knew this was gonna happen.
Right.
And he gets home to his window. He's like, son, I clocked you doing 98. I was following you. You're doing 100. He's like, you got your license on you? He's like, I was like, hey, I'll just go get my license on. I bring my license out. He's like, your license says safe driver on your license. He's like, why are you going so fast? I'm like, didn't even realize I was going this fast. So, I just put a new motor in the car. The speedometer broke in Mississippi. Never broke. It just never worked.
Right.
And like, we're just excited. We're going to Yellowstone. I'm like, deflect. We're going to Yellowstone. We're going camping. And then after this, we're going here. And then we're going there. And he's like, And he's like, he takes my license, goes back to the car, comes back in 5 minutes. He's like, well, on account of I have no idea how this happened, I'm going to let you go. You just keep it under 80 in the great state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
And just let me go.
Yeah.
And he was cool as fuck. But
cool.
like, the old car buffers everybody.
Yeah. No, for sure. I gotten pulled over for like lights. I'm just like, oh shit, is that a light?
Yeah.
I always
or no
say
tail
that.
lights or something.
My tail light's out. I'll go fix that right now, sir.
Because you're trying,
Yeah.
dude. You're trying to make it happen. If you're bombing down a road in a brand new, 392 Challenger, there's not much. He's not going to have any sympathy for you.
No, not
You know
at
what
all.
I mean? So if you're speeding, but you're trying to do it and you put the effort into it, you're more likely to get away with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like to drive fast. I know you like to cruise.
I also, I hit the highway, but also I learned a long time ago, like before I got sober, it was like, oh, just like when it came to like, I'll give you the 1/8 of weed that I have on me, right? I'll just fess up to that. Then you won't go looking for the pounds I have stuck in the back doors because I'm delivering those. I don't know how many times I was like, oh, fuck, this is it. This is the time. And it would just be like.
I don't think any of them really care about weed.
Oh,
know what
back,
I mean?
dude, 12 years ago?
What's that?
12 years ago,
12
they
years
cared
ago,
about
yeah.
weed. Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Now
Oh,
you can drive around with a car made of weed and nobody will care. But back then, dude, like
I know it's kind of weird. Like people, like I remember some people would judge you if you had watched Cheech and Chong. Just watched it. You're not smoking weed, but just
Yeah.
like even if you took the time to just watch it, it was like a big deal.
yeah. Yeah,
It's funny to think about that. I started smoking weed when I was 12.
I didn't smoke weed till I was like 20.
Yeah,
21.
I still love it.
I was late onset weed guy. Weed's tight. Yeah, it's I explained to you earlier about the anxiety stuff from the heart attack.
It don't help. It's for definitely
but
some
what
people.
What I realized about it then was like you can get in a trap, right? And you start getting high every day just to get high, just to get by, right? Or you can use it as a tool and like it's going to enhance I went to see Black Sabbath on the final tour, and that was a time where I was like, I wish I would have been stoned for that. That would have been cool. You know what I mean? And I wasn't because I was all sober. And then
that
it's
would
like,
have been amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing regardless, to be honest with you. It was sick.
I'm so jealous of that.
It was sick. It was sick.
Did you ever hear of Freedom Hawk?
Oh, yeah, I've seen Freedom Hawk.
Dude, they sound like if early Black Sabbath came out with like more records to me.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're great.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, I could talk to you about stoner rock all day. There's a band called Arrowhead from
the fucking genre,
Australia.
The genre for all this music on Spotify, the one that is called Stoner Doom.
Yeah, Stoner Doom. That's what it's called. Doom metal. It started as doom metal, then they labeled it stoner rock. And then
fucking all the younger kids, like the girls that work at our tattoo shop, one of them called it Dad Rock.
Dad Rock.
What? I was like, I can't believe you're categorizing my metal.
I also can't believe that you call that dad rock, dude. You're gonna tell me that like
I know. When I think of dad rock, I think of like Steely Dan or something.
Yeah,
but like
yacht rock or like. Well, I think dad rock would be like CCR.
Yeah.
You know, Bob
I fucking
Seger.
love CCR.
I love all that stuff.
Bob Seger.
And I saw Bob Seger's last tour also.
Dang. All right.
That was sick.
Damn.
That was super sick.
You know what's a bummer?
That's like my favorite of all time is Bob Seger.
I had the chance to go to a Motorhead concert right before Lemmy died, and I won tickets on a radio.
Sick.
But they were $30 tickets. I drove my ass to Tampa doing like 100 miles an hour in a Honda Accord to go get Motorhead tickets that were only $30. I didn't know how much they cost. I'm like, I need to get Motorhead tickets, because they were somewhat close to the front, and he ended up dying like a couple years later, so I never got to see him.
Fuck, I saw Motorhead probably 4 times. I think 4 times. Wow. I saw them.
That's awesome.
It was tight. One time we went
Dude, it's hard to believe that he's like,
yeah,
he's got it up and down. Apparently, like his throat, it didn't hurt his throat when he's like, when he yelling that way.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to Hawkwind, his first band?
No.
Yeah, Lemmy was in another band called Hawkwind. Hawkwind's tight.
Dude, this is random as fuck. But like I'm sorry. No, you're good. I love Black Sabbath. Do you know how Black Sabbath came to be?
No, tell me.
So Tony Iommi and Ozzy, when they were good buddies, they went and saw monster movie. They went to a movie theater called Black Sabbath. It was a Boris Karloff movie. You know, the guy who's
I
mean one, Mr. Grinch. That guy.
I know Boris Karloff is.
So
The Mummy.
His movie was called Black Sabbath. The front cover of that is like a headless horseman holding like up a zombie head with like girls with their tits out on the bottom. Like, ah! And the lettering for Black Sabbath is very similar. And I guess it had an impact on both of them. And they decided, Tony Iommi told himself, he's like, I'm going to make hard rock music for horror movies.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted to base it off of, that impending doom fucking music, you know? And the funny thing is, you know who Tony Iommi played with before Black Sabbath?
No.
This is fucking Jethro Tull.
Oh, sick.
But you would never think that he would play with them.
Yeah.
But he said the reason why he didn't want to play with Jethro Tull is because the lead singer of Jethro Tull is not named Jethro Tull, right? I don't know what his fucking name is.
No, I don't think so.
But he wanted the whole band to eat lunch and dinner together, like a big like medieval crowd scene. And Tony Iommi didn't want to eat with anybody, so he decided to break up with the band. But it's just weird thinking that he's so metal that you wouldn't think that he would start off with Jethro Tull over, Black Sabbath.
Yeah. That's wild.
And he's missing two fingers,
I never thought about that. Yeah, because like sometimes it's fun to like go, retrace bands like where they've come from and stuff.
That's how I found a lot of the music I like.
Yeah, so like you find like Ted Nugent was in the Amboy Dukes. Yeah. Like Billy Gibbons was in a band called the Moving Sidewalks prior to being in Austin. And they have this song called the 99th Floor. It's like their single or whatever.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's like every cool dude.
Rick James used to play with Neil Young
Okay.
back in the day.
Yeah.
With when they were playing like folk music. A lot of people don't realize that. And then Jimi Hendrix was playing with the Isley Brothers.
Yeah,
and
he played
James
with
Brown.
he played with a couple different people as like a studio, like a session guitarist, basically.
I actually, you know what's weird? Like out of all the music, my favorite is probably James Brown.
Oh, really?
I don't know why, but the dude is so fucking positive and he's such a ball of fucking energy. Like I feel like motivated when I fucking listen.
Yeah.
When I listen to his music, like my personal favorite clip of any music is James Brown went to Italy in 1970. The entire crowd had never seen anything like that ever before. It's a bunch of squares. You know, it's probably about 300 people had never seen anything like that. And it was when he got rid of his original band, and it was like the fucking second funk started because he had Bootsy Collins playing with him when he was like 18 years old. And he had like 2 drummers and he had backup dancer girls like on top of the stages that were like thick black girls like dancing to his music at the same time with him in the middle going fucking nuts, sweating his ass off. So if you find that on YouTube, it's like one of the coolest. Like to me, it's one of the coolest. Like he plays for 20 minutes. It's only a 20-minute video, but it's so fucking good. And he's got so much energy. Like I just always like, I don't know. I just love it. Nina's sick of James Brown. I play so much fucking James Brown.
Sick of it. I was trying to think like weird.
Like correlations of people like bands that like played for other people.
Yeah, well, just like well, not just that, like, oh, like Randy Bachman was like, you know, had like a solo career prior to BTO. And
I didn't
like,
know that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. But like, I was thinking about like best, like cool old performances I like. There's like a JJ Cale. It's like, I think
don't know
it's.
who that is.
Oh, you don't know JJ Cale? You know the song Cocaine?
Yeah.
And Call Me the Breeze?
Yeah.
Like he's like a songwriter.
Oh,
he's
all
like.
right.
He's like a Hoyt Axton kind of guy. He's like a singer-songwriter from Oklahoma, but like everything that he did, it sounds like it's just like a metronome going, and then it's like 1, 2. Like he counts in all the songs, but like I'll play the original "Call Me the Breeze" after we're done. But it's wild shit. But there's this it's like this studio session. It's like him and it's fuck, who's the organ player on it? I can't remember right now, but it's like them live, and it's like in the 70s, and it's just like the dude that just like never, like doesn't look like he's working hard, and he sings these like real mellow songs like this about this. You feel like it's about this tempo and speed, and like call me the breeze.
That's where Leonard Skinner got "Call Me the Breeze."
Yeah, from this guy.
Get the fuck out of here!
JJ Cale. Yeah. That's like
that shit always blows me away when you love a song so much and then you find out that it was from
is like
somebody
finding
else.
out like all those songs are like that. So
Dude, all along
Hoyt
the Watchtower-
Axton, that Snowblind friend, that Steppenwolf recorded. There's a couple of songs Steppenwolf did. They're actually Hoyt Axton songs. Hoyt Axton is like, dude, he has a song called Thunder and Lightning, and it's like got like hammers hitting chisels and shit. It's wild. It's like wild shit.
You know, you were saying CCR. CCR, I love them so much. But there's a singer from the 50s that he copied that real raspy.
It's not even the 50s. It's prior to that.
Fucking, you know what? It's like on the tip of my
tongue.
Well,
there's like Midnight Special. Let the Midnight Special. That's Leadbelly.
I didn't know that.
So, dude, Leadbelly. Crazy story. Leadbelly was like in prison for murder or something, and like ended up getting pardoned because the governor liked the way he sang so much. But like Leadbelly at one point, like he got his throat cut, and then like survived, and then it like gave him this raspy ass voice. But dude, like you remember Nirvana Unplugged?
Yeah.
My girl, girl. Dude, that's a song from like the 1920s.
Oh, yeah.
That's Leadbelly.
I didn't realize that.
Because his is like his guitar is like that's his like it's the same rhythm, but it's like bo-do-do-dum.
Probably the most distortion in one song. Like
Oh.
in that My Girl, like the
Yeah.
original version of that song
Yeah.
is a ton of distortion.
Yeah, it's cool.
But that's what makes it sound good.
But that's like government going around in the trunk of a car with a recording device, recording people direct. Like that's what like. So early
Didn't Jack
on,
Black buy that? Are you talking about that recording thing that like you could pay to make your own record or something?
it's like that, right? But prior to that, like back in the day, so there's the Library of Congress, and they still have the Library of Congress. And the Library of Congress collects all popular culture things, like movies, film, music, all cultural things, literature, right? So in the Library of Congress, they would go around back in the day, and they would like that's where all those Robert Johnson recordings are from. I think part of them is like he sat down with like they would record these people. These motherfuckers were just going around singing at like little shack joints and stuff like that. Like that's like pre-radio music. I think like it was all orchestra stuff, right?
Cool thing about back then is like they would give you a chance on a record because they're like, let's give them a chance and see if the kids like it or not, and not overjudge it and think that they're the cool ones that have the best idea.
But you know what's cooler right now is like for like a less than $1,000, anyone can buy all the stuff they need to just record themselves.
Yeah, true.
And make your own record, and then you can upload it to SoundCloud for free.
What do you listen to right now?
Right now,
like, do you listen? But because I know I love listening to certain old music, but is there new music that you listen to that you dig? That's not doesn't suck.
Eric and I are getting ready to go see the Viagra Boys next week.
Okay.
They're bitching ass punk rock band.
That's cool.
Kind of their own sound. They're different. But they're opening for Queens of the Stone Age at this outdoor amphitheater. It's going to be fucking badass.
Queens of the Stone Age are good.
Yeah. Me and Eric were laughing. It's like, well, are we the only dudes that are just going to leave before Queens of the Stone Age are over? like, all right, we've seen enough Josh on. This isn't
You seen him a couple times?
Yeah. I've seen Queens of the Stone Age once, I think. I can't remember. There's like, I saw so many shows when I worked. Like, I was a stagehand when I was a teenager. And then cool. I worked at the Riot Room. I mean, I stood on stage with the Sword while they played like as security at the Riot Room. They played the Riot Room, dude.
Wow.
Like that's a tiny ass bar here. Like is a music venue. But I've seen them all, really.
That's awesome.
But there's another band, Eric and I both like them. They're called Amyl and the Sniffers.
What are they called?
Amyl and the Sniffers.
Amyl and the Sniffers?
Yeah. It might be a meal. I think it's Amyl because it's an Australian band.
Do you
punk
hear that
band.
Australian band called Graveyard?
They're not from Australia. They're from Europe.
Oh, you know what?
I love Graveyard.
My friend, you know Evan Danes?
Yeah.
He's a really good artist,
like
a hot rod artist. He's from Australia. We were trading music to try to figure out what was good to listen to. He gave me Graveyard. I fucking love those.
Graveyard rules. They
really
just put out a new single like a week ago. They're getting ready to go on tour again, I hope. I've seen them. They were on tour once and had never played America before, and they only played like 4 cities. And the band they were on tour with was playing at Riot Room, and then Graveyard was there. And I watched Timmy offer an insane. He pulled out an insane amount of cash and was like, "I will give you this much money to play, and I won't even advertise that you're here. Wow. I just want to see your band that bad." Damn. And the dude was like, "I wish I could." But when they did come back through, they came back on tour and they played there and killed it. Yeah. They ruled, dude. That band, that band is so good. Graveyard fucking rules, dude.
That's cool.
That High Sung Blues album is like sick as hell.
You know what's funny? Like I liked that. I fucking love Led Zeppelin. I grew up. My pops listened to like every Led Zeppelin album. Did you hear that Greta Van Fleet?
Yes.
It's like I liked it for the first like couple times I listened to the album because it does sound so close to Led Zeppelin. It's like now I can't. It's like it's like he's trying too hard to be Rush and Led Zeppelin at the same time that it's like I can't. It's like I'm tired of it already.
Yeah, I don't like any of that shit.
Nah.
I don't even like Led Zeppelin.
Really?
Hot take. Fucking.
What, because they stole so much shit?
No, I just hate it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's all of it's stolen.
Yeah, it is all stolen.
All the tightest songs are just covers.
All the old folk songs like that. Like Joan Baez.
The Levee Breaks. No, dude, they're all old blues and like Negro spirituals
Yeah,
and
true.
like it's all blues music and stuff. But like, dude, it's all like When the Levee Breaks is literally a song
It's a
from
whole
like the
other song.
40s that this lady recorded.
Damn.
And it's like when you find that out, like that's what I love about Spotify because
You
it
can
keeps a
find out
motherfucker
real
honest now. Like I can look up a song name and go, hold on,
Dude.
and then I can see which one of these came out first. Because before you might not look at the notes
It's
to
almost
see who wrote
disappointing
it.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I don't listen to a ton of rap, but fucking Dr. Dre didn't write any music.
No, he just
Not a
made the,
fucking
he
thing.
made the music, he produced it,
Dude.
but none of those guys did. Ice Cube wrote all the lyrics to all that stuff.
Well, oh, he wrote the lyrics? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But just like all the background beats, like those are, all of that is.
Samples, but that's what they did. Like that's
Yeah.
part of it. They still do that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, they true.
But but now guys do produce songs out of nothing. That's the
Yeah.
evolution of it, right? But like, and even back in the day, it would be like, oh, like I like the way that guitar sounds, so I'm gonna use that. Like, dude, there's so many songs that it's like you can play 3 chords together and it will equivalent to like depending on how you play those 3 chords, you know, like What I Like About You,
What did you just
Cherry.
say? What I like about you?
Yeah, that song, What I Like About You.
Dude, you just gave me fucking chills. That song is like, that was like me and my pops' song, The Romantics.
Yeah, the Romantics.
That was me and my dad's song since I was like fucking 5. He used to drive around an 86 Celica and then that song would
Yeah.
come on, fucking blast it. Every now and then I hear it and it's like I'm hanging out with him for a second. You know what I mean? It's not a really poignant song by any means,
Yeah.
but it's like when I hear it, I get like minorly amped, and it's like just more of like
It's the same as like 4 other
they
songs.
have like 2 other good songs or something like that.
But
I
that
think.
song is like this like chord structure and like note structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same as Cherry Baby loves me, yes she does.
Yep.
She's got the way to move. But it's that. But there's a reason why all those songs are hits.
Yeah.
Because there's something about that specific thing, right? Like there has to be. Like what is it about that chord structure and those 3 chords
Makes it
that
sound
like
so good.
makes it to where people? It's like, oh shit, like. There's like a lot of math into it. Like you can figure it out. You can hack the Gibson and like really like that's how dudes are out here doing anything. There's always a code to break. And once you master the code, look at the Misfits and the Ramones.
True.
They're like it's the same
Rocket
shit.
to Russia is probably I would say that's probably one of my top 10 albums. I love every song. I mean, you can listen to everything without changing it. That's what makes an album. Like if there's nothing to skip, I feel like that's like kids don't do that now. They don't listen to a whole album all the way through because a lot of them don't even plan it that way.
That's why I like about listening to records. I can just put on.
So what's your go-to if you could listen to any 3 albums? I was already planning on asking you this before I came in here because I know every time you post something with fucking music, I'm like, what the fuck is he listening to?
Oh,
it's so fucking good.
Because I'm always like,
you listen to a lot. I feel like you listen to a lot more funk and a lot more like obscure music than you would even let some people know.
I listen to dude.
So what's your 3 albums?
Man.
That's what I'm saying. I know you know a lot of music, but like if you had to if you were forced to be in a cell and someone's like, all right, dude, you need 3 fucking albums. What are you listening to for the rest of being in this?
The rest of being in this. Probably Steppenwolf 2. That's like the one with like the cover where they're all looking down.
Yeah.
It's got that album's sick.
Yeah.
It's got there's a song called Disappointment Number Unknown. And it's like this super long song and it like has a piano and it's like goes in slow. But I've always loved that record.
I'm gonna listen.
It's got
dude,
faster,
I'm listening to that.
Faster Than the Speed of Light is on there.
The reason why I'm asking, I got a long fucking drive home.
Yeah. I'll make you a whole playlist.
I'm gonna fucking.
The
ride home's gonna be different than the ride out.
Yeah,
I'm listening to different stuff. So.
Fuck, 3 albums, huh? Probably.
It is. It is a tough question because there's a lot of fucking music out there.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like do anything that's like, oh, pick 5.
Yeah,
but,
true.
Like definitely that Steppenwolf. If I'm gonna keep it in the vein of music like that, like if we're saying specifically like that like sticking with the vein of stoner rock or whatever. I would because I would consider that early stoner rock. Probably Fu Manchu's King of the Road.
I've never listened to that album.
It's sick. That's the one with the van on it. That's got Boogie Van. It's got the whole thing is packed. And then fuck, dude, there's so many good albums. Like I can't even just.
But those are
dude. There's a Sturgill Simpson record.
The what?
Sturgill Simpson.
You like Sturgill Simpson? I fucking love Sturgill Simpson.
Yeah, but you probably hate the record that I love.
Which
he put
one?
out Sound and Fury.
I love that one.
Dude, that's the one most people hate. That's my favorite one. That's the only one I can listen to the whole thing.
Dude, so you know how I describe that album to people? Like if
it's a rock opera.
It is. It is. But if you were to mix three people if three people had a baby and made that album, it would be Waylon Jennings, it would be ZZ Top, and Pink Floyd. If you put all those together, that's that album.
Yeah, I tell people because they're always like, "Oh, I couldn't do it." I'm like, "Oh, did you like start at the first song and then just listen to it?" And they're
you gotta
like,
listen to it all the way.
No,
through.
I was like, "Oh, you have to listen to it. It's a story." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "There's also an animated movie."
I watched that.
That's
pretty
sick.
rad.
Well, you know that like his buddy, growing up, one of his best friends was a foreign exchange student from like Japan. And that guy went on to become like one of the biggest names in Japan animation. Yeah, his buddy. That's like done by like the top anime guy in the world. Yeah.
Dude, me and one of the guys at the shop, his name's Matt Norris, he's fucking awesome tattooer. Him and I that's like, if him and I are working that day, that album's playing like within some time of the day. And it's like anyone that you're tattooing that time is like, what album are we listening to? This is like pretty good. I'm like, yes, this is the music that doesn't fucking suck today. But they don't want him to be that popular because he sings about dropping acid and DMT and shit. So
yeah, and that is just a weird record in general. Like, I was so bummed because that came out right before the pandemic hit really hard.
Yeah,
and he had a whole tour lined up where he was playing because that movie was out, and he was playing the album, and they were playing the video. Like I think behind it,
almost like a Gorillaz.
Yeah,
thing.
And then like it never. They canceled that tour. I was so bummed. I was so stoked to see it because like all the shit's good. It's okay, but like I thought that was like really, really bitching.
Yeah, no, it's sick and it's different. It's something different. You know, you can only country music's just like now it's all about like fucking pretending to driving a truck with no hitch on the back and pretending like you go out fishing all the time. Like,
and like it's like whatever. Like this shit like.
Nina and I.
There's like a bunch of good. Country music's like super hot right now. It's like the trendy thing to be. It's like trendy to be like punk country, which is what I call it when you're like playing honky tonks. You know what I mean? But there's like all these people that like.
When I think of punk country, I think of Hank Third though.
Right,
and that's Harold's
dude.
department.
Well, Hank Williams IV. There's another great album. His son plays music. Four in the Strange Band. That's Hank Williams IV. He's getting ready to go on tour, but his record's incredible. It's an incredible album. It's sick.
Dude, it's so funny. Like Nina and I, when we were driving out west, like we picked like when we're in the middle of Texas, I'm like, we need to listen to the fucking Hank First album. It's like, I feel so good. That's the slowest I drive throughout the entire trip. Cause it's like arms on the bench seat, fucking leaning back and just listening, with the windows open or something.
Yeah. I'll make you a nice little.
Actually, Spotify I need you to write me down. I'm gonna write because I got Spotify on the phone and we listen to a ton of.
I can just make a playlist real quick and then send it to you.
Yeah,
but yeah, no,
I know you know your music,
dude. But like, also like, I was driving around all day. Like, I've been on this. Like, I found this thing called Memphis Cult, and Memphis Cult / Groove Dealers, and it's like these dudes are all like underground rappers from Memphis in the 90s, and they take all these old cassettes that they have, and this dude like remixes them, and they're fucking badass, dude. Like, they're sick. And they've been doing like a bunch of visual shit with it on Instagram, and I've been digging that. I love Memphis rap, and I really love Houston, Texas rap. Like, I've been into that since I was a teenager.
I was just gonna say, I had a best friend. He died a couple of years ago, but he got me into. He's from Houston,
yeah,
and he listened to Paul Wall a lot. But his thing was like chopped and screwed music.
Yeah.
DJ Screw.
Yeah.
And
R.I.P. to the legend, DJ Screw.
Yeah.
But dude, when I was a teenager,
DJ Screw, what dude? I'm fucking missing the best one.
Michael
Watts.
Watts. Well, DJ Screw
Michael
started.
Watts is awesome.
There's Paul Wall, Swisher House, Slim Thug, Chameleon Air, Riff Raff is from Houston.
Oh my god, my friend Scott back home.
Zero.
No, dude.
Luke Hawk.
Oh my god, I keep thinking of Doctor Doom, but it's not Doom. Not MF Doom. It's oh my god.
Ghetto
I'll think of it. I'll
Boys
think
are
of it.
from
I'll think of it
Dallas.
later. He's. It's like the only one you're not saying. It's fucking.
Little Flip.
You know a lot of them though.
I know all of them.
You know all of them, dude,
I
that's
never
awesome.
stopped. Dude, when I was in high school,
You're like Little Flip,
dude, I used to go to like this place called the Wax Factory. Like I have a copy of Paul Wall and Chameleon Air's first record.
Oh my god!
And when it came out in one. It was all, they were like wearing all white and had blue on. And then there was another one. It was all white and red. Like you could buy. People were buying that record based off of the set they claimed, dude.
Oh, I just remember it. He's like, do what the fuck you wanna do. Say what the fuck you wanna say. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Devin the Dude?
Devin the Dude.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
Devin the Dude
is Houston.
Yeah.
There's nobody. There's
He's
Devin
either
the
Houston or Dallas. He's South Texas.
Is he?
He might be Dallas, but he's Texas rap. But
Yeah.
yes, it's all one and the same.
I love Devin the Dude.
Devin the Dude
I feel
rules.
dumb that I couldn't remember his
Somebody
name.
had the nerve
Yeah.
to take the herb about my doobie ashtray. Why'd you do me
that
Dude,
way?
Lackville 79. In my
Yeah.
Lackville 7. Dude, my buddy Gerald just stopped by last week. He was in town, and that he turned me on. That's who turned me on to Chopped and Screwed. Because I was like, what are you guys? They taught me everything I know, dude. Like, what are you listening to? I'd be riding around in box Chevys with 15-inch Super Blues.
I remember that was 2008. That was like when the pill crisis was going on, because like these fucking drug dealers in fucking Sarasota were making so much fucking money from pills. They're driving $100,000 fucking Caprices with like, you know, 20 G's and 20 G's and wheels on there.
So this is prior to that. I'm talking about like 1998.
Oh shit. So,
I'm like
that's
a freshman in high school.
What is that, like 17-inch Dayton's?
Dude, no.
17 by 9 Dayton's or 16 by 9s?
Maybe somebody had 18-inch Dayton's. Yeah. I remember when 20 wheels came out and people lost their fucking
Tupac
minds.
was one of the first ones. The one he got shot in. The fucking, that Beamer that he was in. I remember seeing it because I remember he drove up on the curb to get away from it. And I remember seeing a pair of aluminum rims. They were dented like a...
But this is early on. So you're talking about 15, 16, 17-inch wheels. But TVs, PlayStation 1s in the car, maybe Nintendo, a few screens. Dude, but just all shit boxes,
the first kid
really.
that I saw 20s in real life, there was, at my high school, there was an older kid that always picked up he's a kid that was like pretty cool in high school. But his older friend was out of high school. He had a Dakota RT with fucking 20-inch spinners on it, and he had little LCD screens like in the dash and everything. Dude was like changing fuses all the time because the bass would blow out, blow out the car and everything.
Obviously.
But the dude paid. He had to be selling because he had like. Do you remember that chameleon paint? Back in the day?
It was stupid
but
price.
that shit was expensive. It was like $600 a quart.
You had to get it from Ford.
Yeah, $600 a quart back then.
Yeah,
so he had an all black nude Dakota with fucking chameleon flames on it.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I saw 20s.
Probably was.
And they had like the 20-inch like the chopper floater ones with they like sat real far out.
Yeah.
So funny.
Things are wild, but as a,
So it's like, are kids going to want to build those?
Yeah.
Like, in another 10, 20 years? Because mini trucking's kind of coming back.
Yeah, it all comes back around. Everything comes back around in popularity.
I feel like the only thing that was missing from mini trucking is putting power. Like big fucking motors or something.
Like the traditional hot rod thing is like losing steam. And now a lot of people are like, they're switching to like gassers. They're switching to drag racing. Or they're switching to doing what you did, which is build like a sort of
Dude,
the home built, like, I guess you'd call it a resto mod because it has a fuel injected motor in it. You know what I mean?
I don't want anyone to see the motor, but everything on the outside, like I wanted my wagon to look like I'll say like you watch Knight Rider and Chips when you were a kid and like the A-Team and stuff. Those were all filmed in California. The coolest shit was what was parked in the background.
Right. All the cool cars were.
And everything like had like crazy rake and everything.
Yeah.
And like I was so fucking psyched to fucking camp in my hot rod because Mad Max won. You remember the Australians have the coolest shit. Like
Ford Falcon 500.
Well, yeah. But my favorite car of that was his panel wagon. It was like a late 70s. Remember the orange panel wagon with like the space scene painted on the side? He had a surfboard on top of the roof rack. But he like him and his family was like in the back with like a bed in the back with like the curtains in the back windows. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like you can like take your like hot rod like on the road and you could like sleep in it. Because when you're a kid, you're just thinking about forts and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's
Australians still have crazy rake and blowers and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're obsessed down there. They're ate up. Australia's ate up. That's where Eric's pedals in the 60. Yeah. They came from Australia, from this like desert speed place.
You know what's crazy about driving with like heavy rake? Everyone's like, "Oh, it must ride horrible." I actually love it because like if you're going any off road a little bit, or if you're going up a hill, if you go up a hill, you feel like you're just raising up in an elevator. Yeah. It's really weird. But then when you're going down the backside, it feels like you're diving into a pool. You know what I mean? But like
the Dodge is like that.
Yeah. But it's funny though, like if you're camping out in your hot rod and you have that moonshine and rake, nothing's ever flat. So if you're trying to fucking park somewhere to get the bed even in the back, you just kind of park on a hill and find that right angle to level it out.
Yeah.
Because the one thing we're seeing on all the campgrounds, like someone who buys a brand new fucking Sprinter van, they make like $100 blocks that people buy to like drive up on one side to tilt the van so they're level inside. You know, so their IKEA furniture is cool inside, you know?
What? I just drive the van. I'll sleep upside down with my head.
I know, but I'm like particular. Like if I'm laying down and it's like kind of like if I feel like I'm leaning a certain way or something, like it messes up my sleep, I guess. But yeah, and if you put your own pillows in there, sleep is much better.
Oh yeah,
like you're in your own bed, kind of. But
yeah, no, that's why I got the vans.
Yeah. I hope more of the Australian style like comes back along with like the vans, like heavy rake.
Yeah, like when we were kids, right? Because we're the same. How old are you?
I'm turning 40 in November.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah.
So we're like the exact same age, dude.
Oh shit, you're 83?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What day?
November 19th.
Okay, I'm 25th.
Of November?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, you old fuck.
No, dude, that's fucking weird. You were born in 25th? All my like best friends were born within like the same week as me. That's really
wild.
Weird.
That's way wild.
Yeah, that's weird. Huh.
Yeah. But no, so
November
when we were
babies.
kids, like everything we remember is from the 70s, dude, and 80s.
Yeah.
So it's like all like, because all the reruns we were watching was shit from the 70s and the 80s, right? But like that's it. All the cars were like raked out. Everything had cool vans in it. Everything had like, that's what I'm saying. Like these kids from the 90s they would have been probably watching like, you know what I mean? They were watching reruns of like Cobra and like whatever, like fucking Airwolf. You know what I mean? Like the shit we watched when it was new. But there's a generation of kids that was their reruns. You know what I mean?
You know what's fucking? I love panel vans because when I was a kid, they had a Sesame Street movie called Follow That Bird.
Yeah.
And they were driving a 56 Chevy sedan delivery.
Nice.
But it was raked. Like it had like Krager bags on it. It looked sick. I always remember seeing that. I'm like, I don't even know if you could find that now, but it's like, I love that.
Sure we
I
can
love
find
that
it.
van in it. And then of course, you know, seeing Ghostbusters and all that other stuff you see in like, cool fins or, you know, you get familiar with 50s.
Dude, the
cars.
Cheech and Chong movies, like the one, dude. What is it? Next movie where they have the van.
Dude, that was like probably the first movie to have early lowriders in it.
Yeah.
Like early 70s lowriders, you know.
Well, there's maybe we'd have to look, but there was like Boulevard Nights, the movie about the lowriders. Have you ever seen that?
But like in the movie theater, was Boulevard Nights in the movie
that was
theaters?
in the movie theaters for sure. Yeah, I have the movie poster hanging above my bed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's cool. Van Nuys Boulevard.
Van Nuys Boulevard. That's a badass movie.
Yeah.
I ripped some clips for that.
Corvette Summer had cool shit in
Corvette
the background.
Summer had cool shit. Two-lane blacktop. I talked about two-lane blacktop. I work at a hot rod shop, dude.
Yeah.
And the owner had never seen. She's like, I was talking about two-lane blacktop. Nobody had ever seen it. I'm like, what? You guys have never seen two-lane black? I'm like quoting the movie.
Dude, I found that by accident in an obscure movie rental video place in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't a Blockbuster. It was just in a clear case, and it had on the outside of it, it was just written two-lane blacktop.
Yeah.
You know, and I think something else was recorded towards the end, like 15 minutes of something else at the end of the movie, you know.
Yeah, dude.
But it was sick. And I'm like, I actually didn't think it was that great of a movie at first, because it's like you try to follow the plot. It's only like there's probably 10 good lines in it and 10 good scenes of like mashing through gears and like, a little bit of a race, racing scenes and whatnot. But it's like, it's hard to follow,
Well, it's about...
You're just racing across the country doing a little bit of nothing, and the girl in the back doesn't talk at all. And you're like, all right, that's Brian Wilson's brother.
Yeah, Dennis Wilson.
Or Dennis Wilson.
Greatest drummer of all time, you mean?
Yeah.
From one of the greatest bands of all time? Fucking Beach Boys rule, dude.
I love Beach Boys.
Yeah, the Beach Boys rule. But no, that movie's rad, dude. Make it 3 yards, motherfucker, and you got yourself an automobile race. Yeah. But that's what it is. The whole movie is, it's supposed to be like, I always took it as like, yo, here's the dude that like built his car, right? And here's the guy that just
bought his GTO.
Bought his car, has all this money and thinks he's hot shit. And it's like, well, no, I'll beat you in a race. Like, I'm going to beat you. It's an underdog tale of like
only for
misfit weirdos that like, it's really like a fucking look at like society and like economic. But it's class war. It's like class war propaganda.
But everybody gets it that loves cars.
Yeah,
like, I get it, and that's why I love it. But if if you didn't like cars, you would not enjoy it at all, and you probably wouldn't like.
How many people watch that because they had James Taylor and they're like, ooh, James Taylor movie. True. Like, imagine when that came out in the theaters. That's like a drive-in movie, probably.
Well, he had a rough beginning to his life. You know that?
Yeah.
He was in a mental hospital for 5-6 years.
I
or
believe
something like that. He actually, the reason why he made that song, you just call out my name, that, it's kind of soft. But the reason why he came up with that song is because his girlfriend that he had in the mental facility, they didn't like that. The people that ran the place didn't like that they had a relationship and they split them up. She killed herself. So after that, he brought himself up out of that and started his musical career after that. So I think Two Lane Blacktop was before he went, whoever thought that he was nuts, had him committed.
Right.
But he was getting better with this girlfriend of his, and they split him up, and then, she killed herself. But that started his career because he wrote a song.
Yeah. That's wild.
But he was pretty metal. Like, he was, beginning stages. Now he's like, everyone's like, oh, soft rock.
I mean, inside is just like a dude wants to kill people. My friend got
free tickets. We went to a James Taylor concert. We got free tickets, and it was so funny because it's like, I think we just went there to just drink other people's alcohol, and my friend made out with 40-year-old mom.
Yeah. It's like the thing, you got free tickets, we just went. Yeah. Yeah, you just go. You experienced it.
Yeah.
I've been to plenty of concerts like that.
That was a weird day.
Yeah, those can be weird.
It's just it's like, I feel like everybody that was watching the concert was like, everybody's like assistant principal and like teachers that like got out all at the same time, and you're in the middle of it and they see you drinking and you're not supposed to, but they're having a good time. That they won't call you out on it.
So, normally they would have to harsh your mellow, but right now they're kind of feel great that they don't have to harsh your mellow.
You know what's funny, dude? I saw Brian Wilson, the first concert he ever put on after he got out of bed.
Nice.
It was kind of, but he just sat in a chair and played a piano, and every song sounded like he was singing 409 over and over again.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's the Beach Boys.
But I got to see him though.
Yeah.
You know?
Mike Love did a cover of Rockaway
He
Beach.
played new songs. His new songs sounded like just playing 409 over and over again.
Yeah. Well, he's just getting back into it after
true.
all that time.
True.
The Beach Boys were awesome though.
I'm trying to think of what the fuck I don't remember who he opened up for.
Brian Wilson?
Yeah.
Probably no one.
No, he opened up for somebody because he just got up out of bed. He was in bed for 30 years, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was just like out of it. He's like, they kept him like doped up. There's a pretty good movie about it, but he just basically like had like a manager. They just kept him. They kept him crazy.
See, but that thing it's like I love Beach Boys, but I also hate them because I love Chuck Berry, and Chuck Berry's no peach. But
yeah, Chuck Berry's a little sus, right? They've made Chuck Berry sus because of the times, but Chuck Berry's from St. Louis, dude.
I know it.
I regret never seeing him. I never got to see Chuck Berry. I mean, he played up until he died. He played until he died. He would still tour. He would come to town. You could book a show. He would just find a local band to be his backing band. That's how easy his songs were to play. You're like, here you go. Just back me up.
Chuck Berry is still good today.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, there's a video of him, and I think it's either with John. There's a video of him with John and Yoko. Oh. And there's a couple parts where he's basically like, "Oh yeah, motherfucker, try that." Like, oh, you think you're rock and roll? I invented this shit. And same thing with the Rolling Stones. There's like this.
No, Yoko freaked out on them.
Oh,
she's like going,
yeah.
And he's like this in the background. And I think he made one of their sound guys like turn her off.
Yeah, but there's other parts of that, like of that concert of them playing together in like different times where they were all like the Stones play with him, and there was a lot of him being like, "Oh, you guys think he's like one?" I always got the vibe that he was like very heavy on the you're trying to rip me off shit, because that's all they were doing. That's all the Stones and the Beatles did at a certain point early on was just rip off Chuck Berry. And everybody's ripping
Beach
somebody
Boys
else.
Fucking ripped off Chuck Berry, except for Pet Sounds. When Pet Sounds came out, that was like, okay, this is
they
Brian
started
Wilson's
doing something
thing.
different. He started inventing ways, like he invented so much ways of recording, dude, that like doing things
Brian
in the
Wilson
studio.
did, or Jeff Berry?
Yeah, Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
People still doing that shit today.
Like overlapping things.
Yeah, overlapping things, instrumentation wise. It's dude, and most of those like garage rock singles from the 60s, those are all the Wrecking Crew. This is like a studio band, and they would just have whatever jabroni guy they were gonna have sing come in, and it'd be like, "Oh, here's the Surf Lights," and it's like it's all. That's why all those songs were like hit songs, because it's the same band.
Dude, fucking people don't realize it, but like you were saying, like all that surf music from back in the day, like 60% of it is Chuck or is Bo Diddley.
Yeah,
there's a Bo Diddley surfing album. It's called Surfing with Bo Diddley.
Yeah,
and but they didn't. It's so stupid. Like all those Beach Blanket Bingo movies, like they'd have a band, like a bunch of white kids playing. Yeah, but it's like fucking Bo Diddley and like his fucking crew, best like, killing it.
Movie appearance ever is I can't remember which one. It's one of those Frankie and Annette movies, right? Yeah. But it's in little Stevie Wonder is in it. Stevie Wonder's in one of those movies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got the harmonica and he's just no hair. It's fucking great, dude. That's the one that has. I think it's the one with. Man, whichever one has Eric Von Zipper and the Rats, the Bike Gang.
That was my inspiration for my wagon. Like I wanted it to look like. If one of those guys had like a car in a movie, like that's what you'd show up on the beach with like a surfboard shaped like a coffin, you know?
I had Back to the Beach, which in like the late 80s, early 90s, Frankie and Annette made another movie called Back to the Beach.
My dad had a huge crush on Annette. Oh, like all the Italians back in the day, like she was
Annette Funicello.
Annette, she was like, oh my God. Like she was like the Italian heartbeat before Raquel Welch, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because she was part of the Mickey Mouse Club, and she's probably from the East Coast. They probably both. Well, they were from the East Coast, weren't they?
All the Dagos, like
all you Dagos are from the East Coast.
All the Dagos liked Annette, and they like Marianne from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That is true. I knew some dudes from New York that had a pizza place in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they had like Marianne autographs, Frank Sinatra autographs. Like it's a big deal,
dude. Yeah. We're lucky that we got to be through the Gilligan's Island generation, because it's so funny. Like it's like I kind of miss like watching cartoons and TV shows that are just like, it's just like something your brain consumes. You don't laugh at it. You don't fucking get anything out, but it's like, it's over.
Yeah.
It finishes and you're like, oh, that was good. I'm going to go do something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Dude, you're right. Because now everything has to be, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm never satisfied, right? Like, Sopranos is tight. You know what I mean? But that one ended weird. But like that show Ozark, I got so invested into Ozark. I was like, this is fucking excellent. Jason Bateman rules. Like, this is like groundbreaking story. He's like, this is crazy. And I thought it was like so good, the story, right? And then at the end of it, I'm like, that's it? That's what you fucking did? And same thing with like Breaking Bad. It's like, that's it? And then like now they've come back, like that shit, like it's made me like realize that like that's what's missing. Because you used to be able to watch, you didn't have to watch every episode of G.I. Joe. You could watch every episode of G.I. Joe. You
like Scooby-Doo,
Real Ghostbusters,
same shit.
You could watch one episode. You didn't need to know. All you needed to know is every time they foiled the mystery. You right? Like that was gonna happen. You knew that.
But the funny thing about Scooby-Doo is like nothing was an actual monster. So there's like the theme in it. I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, they never actually found anything really
supernatural
dead or supernatural, but it's always this like weird old.
It's always some weird old white dude dressed up.
I wouldn't have got away with it if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Always like trying to do like a land deal or something. You know what I mean? Like they're always so like, it's Mr. Smithers. He's trying to run them out of their home. Like what?
At a certain point, you're just gonna have to assume that it's just gonna be some angry white dude.
It's just some old angry white guy in a suit trying to. He's just mad because he couldn't get that eminent domain.
But in a cartoon, you have to use your imagination. There's not like, it's not like Jaws. You can tell, the shark looks fake.
Yeah.
If it's a dude in a gorilla suit, you're just like, oh fuck, it might be a dude with one eye in a gorilla suit. You know?
Yeah.
Or yeah. But the funny thing is, the funniest part about like old cartoons and all that stuff, and it's like you might relate with me on this one, is like especially being 40. You know, we had Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
You had a time slot where you're like, I'm fucking watching TV today between this time and this time, and then Soul Train comes on. And then when Soul Train comes on, that's when I know not to watch TV anymore because I don't know how to dance to any of this. Soul Train, you know.
And then on another channel, it was Bandstand came on. Yeah. But yeah, dude. But it wasn't just that night. There were several nights of the week. Well, here's what I remember: Saturday morning, it was cartoons. Saturday fucking afternoon, it was Airwolf. It was Cobra, and then it was motherfucking American Gladiators, dude.
You know what's fucked up? I didn't ever like helicopters, so I would always watch the beginning of Airwolf. I'm like, I'm not fucking investing in this. Like,
Airwolf was just I don't
even remember the song.
A-Team too. I used to watch A-Team.
A-Team too.
Dude.
Fall Guy must have been a Midwest thing because that wasn't a big deal.
Fall Guys, that's before us.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fall Guy, Fall Guy had
but
a
I
short.
Dukes of Hazzard, and I think that
I
ended
know, but
in
Dukes
80.
of Hazzard was on reruns. Wasn't nobody rerunning fucking Fall Guy?
Oh yeah.
I think Fall Guy aired one time, and they were like, "Yeah, that didn't do so hot."
Oh really?
And then every redneck white trash dad, all of our white trash dads were like, "Fucking Fall Guy was the greatest thing ever." He had a C10,
bought a set of KC lights. They
had KC lights.
That's
dude.
funny.
I'm trying to remember Quantum Leap, dude.
Oh my god, my mom used to watch that.
Like, dude, that show ruled.
Like
it was literally about a dude traveling through time and space, and he'd end up in a random body. Else. There's one episode where he's goes into a person with Down syndrome. It's fucked up.
I totally forgot about that.
It's fucked up. He's being an Asian guy one week. He'd be like, "What?" It's like supposed to show you like how racism's real or whatever. But like that show is fucked up, dude. Quantum Leap ruled, dude.
I the beginning of the credits like is burned in my head when he's like the air's blowing up at him. Dude, and he's like in that like blue fucking abyss.
I tried to buy a fucking Teddy Ruxpin today at an estate sale and failed. I don't know if you remember that.
Teddy
like
Ruxpin. Yeah,
the doll.
Bear?
Yeah.
Was it a bear?
Yeah, the bear that you put the cassettes in and it read the book to you. Like there's only things that like people are like, dude, G.I. Joe, obviously. Transformers, the movie, not the fucking TV series, the animated cartoon. Dude, Three Ninjas. I could say Three Ninjas to you, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Surf Ninjas. I can say that to you.
I think they had a couple cars in there that were kind of cool.
I think they did in Surf Ninjas. Surf Ninjas was bad because it had fucking Tone Loc in it.
That's right. Dude, he's in so many movies in that time.
Yeah.
He was like in Ace Ventura.
Oh, he was an Ace
Remember,
Ventura.
he's like Ace Ventura's talking
Dude,
through
I
his butt
remember
at him.
seeing Ace
Thank you very
Ventura.
much.
Yeah. I remember seeing Ace Ventura, and I think my grandparents took me. Whoever took me did not think it was funny, and I thought bending over and talking with your ass was literally the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and I didn't stop doing it for at least 2 months, like every day. I was like ribbing a Ace Ventura line.
I was so fucking perplexed at like, remember when he saves like the girl's dog in the beginning? She's like, "Oh, Ace, I need to repay you somehow." And he like pulls his pants down and he holds on to the ceiling. He's like, "Oh,
yeah,
whoa." I was like watching that. I was like 8. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. We're like, what? And wait, hold
I was like,
on.
she is helping him right now.
Yeah. I had the first trans person we ever saw.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fucking Ray Finkel.
Ray Finkel. Lois Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Remember all the cops were like fucking Dan Marino was in it. That was the weirdest movie, dude. Like the whole thing, like the obsession with the Miami Dolphins in it, and like
people just were obsessed with Miami Dolphins just to wear the jackets.
Dude, what starter jacket did you have?
Fucking Charlotte Hornets.
Of course.
Of course, I bet you had one.
No, my sister had the Hornets. I had a.
It was cool because the first thing was like purple and turquoise. You never saw that shit anymore.
I wasn't walking around like no bitch dog. I had a San Jose Sharks motherfucking starter jacket. I was on hockey status.
You like the Bad News Bears?
Yeah, I was like, fuck you guys. I like hockey. I was like big into hockey, and we had the farm. We were like the IHL was around then.
Yeah.
So we had the Kansas City Blades, and they were the farm club for the San Jose Sharks. So as a kid, I was like pretty into hockey.
That's cool.
I'd watch games and stuff. Yeah, hockey's fun.
It's hate fun. It cold, so it's like
now like people talk to me about sports, and the other day somebody brought up sports. I was like, yeah, don't care. They're like, what? I was like,
no.
I was like, you want me to sit down for several hours and watch people play a child's game?
Yeah.
And they're like, I was like, dude, I would go all day long. I'll go. If one of my buddies called me up and was like, dude, I got tickets to the football game, to the Chiefs or something, I'd be like, well, I've never been. I could go check that out. Hey, you want me to go to a baseball game? Sure, I'd go. If somebody bought me a ticket,
Yeah.
I'd go sit and watch
See
a
what
baseball
it's like,
game.
yeah.
I've been to baseball games. They're fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to be there and talk shit. It's like going to see pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. I can't watch pro wrestling on TV. I've tried again, and it just like, I don't have it in me, but I fucking love going to independent local pro wrestling shows here in town. There's these dudes, me and my buddy Randy, shout out Randall James. We were going, there was a promotion that they stopped doing it, and they've done it. There's always a new wrestling promotion, but there was this dude, like, it was Thumbs and Buns. It was this dude that gave thumbs up, and another dude had like a chiseled butt.
I miss old wrestling. My dad used to tell me, he's like, you believe in this? I'm like, it's real.
Yeah.
My dad's like, it's not real. I'm like, but that's the first thing I questioned my dad on anything. I was like, no, wrestling's real. You don't get it, but I do.
Dude, I would dare say, like, even like we're like heavy wrestling city. Because we had like cool. Harley Race was from here.
I didn't realize that.
And like the wrestling was huge here.
Hulk Hogan's from Clearwater.
Yeah.
So and Macho Man was living up there too.
And so like when I was a kid, like, and a little before, like I did a heavy I watched every WrestleMania until I was like 21. Like, my grandpa had an illegal cable box thing on our satellite dish that like he bought like a satellite early on that was like one of the ones that had to move, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he had some guy, he always knew a guy. My grandpa was old school. He had some buddy that got him this thing that like unscrambled the box, you know what I mean?
That's
and it's
awesome.
like, what kind of guys do you know? It's like, it's real weird.
There's
some mystical things about my granddads, both of them. One of them's passed, one of them's still alive. He just turned 90.
It sounds cool.
But that's the one, like, he maybe like lived on Strawberry Hill over here downtown for a while, and him and my uncle had a couple guys, did some things, but we had that box so we could watch every pay-per-view,
That's
every
cool.
channel for free, right? Like, otherwise we couldn't afford that. My grandpa just, some like...
You remember Spice Channel? He's like, it would be like an inch bar, like moving through. It's like, nipple.
Yeah, we didn't have that because it was all unlocked. But this one I was like 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also it was only on one TV in the house. So like you were in the living room of the house. Like you couldn't just. What are you gonna do? Go in there? We weren't being left at home at the time. You know what I mean? But. Dude, just everything. But there was like a channel we found that only played old wrestling all the time. It was like somebody playing old like NWA shows. Yeah. And so it was cool, dude. But I fucking grew up on the. It's what fucked us up. We grew up on the Attitude Era, dude. I had all
the Hulk Hogan gear, dude. I had a Hulk Hogan trash
Hulkamaniacs.
Dude, I used to remember as soon as I saw him tear open a shirt, I gave it a cut. I'm like, I wonder if I can fucking do it. I couldn't.
When I was little, like my grandpa was like 6'2", you know what I mean? And so was my uncle. Yeah. So like they looked gigantic to me when I was little. Now I'm almost the same height as they are, right? Yeah. But my grandpa used to rip his he'd have like a shitty like they used to like go paint on the side. He'd like rip his shirt off, and I think he's like the baddest dude ever. That's know what I mean? Like, oh fuck, he just ripped that shirt off like Hogan, dude.
I miss when they just pushed the steroids. Let them do them if they want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fucking.
But dude, just keep it kayfabe, though. I missed the kayfabe days. Like, we all knew it wasn't real, but, like, we didn't have to talk about it all the time. Like, just shut the hell up and enjoy it.
That's how sports would probably be interesting. If you just let everyone no holds barred, just, like, be as nuts as you possibly could be.
That's why I like about, like, hockey is crazy, dude. It's guys on a hard-ass surface.
Yeah, dude.
With blades on their feet, sticks in their hands, just launching this
missiles,
heavy ass unit at each other, and they get to beat the shit out of each other. They can square up, dude. Like, there's literally a whole website called hockeyfights.com, and the dude just goes every week and posts up every hockey fight.
Awesome.
From junior league hockey all the way to the NHL and everything in between.
Going on, though, if you think about it. You're slipping, and you're trying to punch someone, and you're trying to get rid of gear.
Dude, hockey fights are crazy.
And you're trying to hold on to them.
It's an art.
I don't get it.
Dude, the goons back in the day. My aunt, when I was a kid, my aunt used to work at a printing company, and they did like Topps trading cards.
Yeah.
But they had like, she was always getting tickets for Blades games. So when I was a little kid, me and my aunt were like thick as thieves, dude. And she would take me to Blades games. I wish I still had them, dude. Because hindsight's always 2020, but like she would bring me uncut sheets of Topps baseball cards. Me and my cousin both, like full sheets of like, it would be like the set for that year in an uncut. Like, we'd have a whole set of cards and they'd be uncut, dude.
Wow.
Like, I mean, you're talking at the time, we probably could have got like Jordan rookie cards or something and not even realize
baseball cards are worth a lot of money now.
Now
like,
they
it's
are.
Going up.
They went
more.
through a lull, dude, and my dad got rid of everything for like nothing. My dad had a crazy card collection.
We found, my pops and I, we went through my Nana's attic. My dad had 2 brothers, so they had, the reason why I like old shit is because my Nana's attic, they didn't throw anything away,
right?
So they had cool shit up there.
Yeah.
And one of my dad's brothers was big into hot rods. I found a set of like vintage side pipes up there and cool
sick,
little devil head dangle underneath the rearview mirrors and stuff. But like toys and stuff was up there, dude. We found boxes of Apollo 11 moon landing cards.
Oh, sick.
It was crazy. So they show like all the pictures of like the process of getting out there and all that stuff. So it was cool. Moon landing cards, bunch of models, found an Apollo 11 model, space models, crazy.
The Apollo 11.
Like the little lunar lander thing.
I was trying to text my kid. I text somebody else instead. Yeah, she's here.
She looked just like you.
Oh, yeah. She does look just like me. All right. Well, let's fucking wrap this up because we've been rambling for 2 hours. These people aren't even listening anymore. They're not even fucking watching. Dude, I'm glad you came back. Yeah, dude. We're not even done hanging yet. We're going to keep hanging. It's not with the camera rolling. Where do they find you at? Instagram?
Yeah, pretty much Instagram. I gave up on Facebook. Too much politics.
What's your Instagram handle?
Instagram's just Nate Greco art. And I just post all the stuff I like to do. And I post as much car stuff as people could probably handle.
Yeah. Do you post your tattoo shit still? Are you yeah.
I post all I like posting like everything that I love doing.
Right.
I'll leave up there, and
Nate does a lot of like the same
cars.
The weird thing was like, I guess we didn't really talk about how like you also took your art that you were doing of cars and started doing them as tattoos.
Yeah.
Because I have one. That's
But only on people who like car shit. So
Yeah.
it's like when I only get to do all the fun shit when I come and see you guys. So.
Yeah. Because I have my van tattooed on my leg.
I tattooed G10. Yeah,
Yeah,
G10,
G10 van.
like bombing down his leg
down a hill.
on fire.
Next time you come, we're gonna finish it because
Yeah,
we never
right.
did finish it. We got to put
something
the
cool in
hill,
back.
yeah,
or
we
just
need
do your other van in the back.
yeah,
doing
just the
same
other
thing.
van, like death racing each other down a hill.
So that's the cool thing about tattoos. You know, there's no rules, and you can do whatever you want. You know.
Oh yeah, Harold just started like. He's just like, let's just tattoo over these. I was like, that sounds good to me. Because there was like, I got this like, somebody owed me. And like, as you can see, I got this paint gun.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, that looks like clip art. And then there was an airbrush here that also looked like clip art. So I was like, Harold, cover that shit up because I don't like it. It wasn't what I wanted,
He's
right?
like, say no more. Brings
Say
out
no
the black
more.
and then fucking touches
He's like,
your
oh
soul.
shit, let me use this panther that I put on no less than 4 other people that you know.
I haven't gotten tattooed in like 7 years. So
I hadn't gotten
it's hard
tattooed
sell.
in forever, and then I got that, and I was just like, it's probably been 3 years. But I don't like, dude, only like Shay did my back.
Shay's so good.
He
man.
started doing my back, and I never got it finished yet.
Shay is so fucking talented with building bikes, like fucking period bikes.
I think he started. I
And
seen
his
Noah
fucking
and Shay
tattoo
was
style.
tattooing again because he hadn't been tattooing. He quit tattooing.
Well, who did Shay? quit?
Yeah,
just building bikes now.
no, he works for the union. He's a union man.
Oh, that's right. He's welding.
But
right?
I think he started working again like a day or two here and there at the tat shop
That's
to
cool.
fill in because union guys they're like cops. They always got to have a second
What is the
gig.
name of the shop that Shay was at?
Old Souls,
Old Souls.
Noah's shop. Yeah,
I don't think I ever met Noah before.
Noah rules. He's a car guy.
That's cool.
He's got cool rad cars. Always
Nice.
building rad cars.
That's in KC. that
Yeah,
shop? That's
downtown. Yeah, right downtown.
cool. Dude, you guys are so lucky that KC downtown is so rad. You can just kind of overtake it if you want to. I feel like for a night.
Yeah, there's like, dude, there's
like if you just want to be like, hey, we're just gonna have a party down there and just do whatever we
oh
want.
yeah, you can do
for
whatever.
3-4 hours, and like you're like, oh, okay,
That's
is
car
what we're
show
doing.
I just did. That's what it was like. I ended up getting a permit from the city to block the road just because I didn't want to deal with no bullshit. But
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ended
yeah.
up. I figured that process out, so now I know. But same thing. It was like 5 hours. Do whatever the fuck you
The only
want.
thing that sucks about Kansas City is fucking potholes. Other than
Yeah,
that,
the
everything's
roads
cool.
have become pretty ass in the last few years. I'm hoping they fix that. They're starting to work on it. They've been redoing a bunch of infrastructure stuff.
I'm
in
just
the
nose
city.
down, and I've just been kissing the cross member the whole time I've been here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, go find Nate. And
Thanks, bud.
no, thank you. I'm glad.
Good to see you.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking great to see you. I was so excited. It's like twice in a week I'm seeing old friends.
I'm more excited to hear the music that you're gonna write down
Oh,
for me
dude,
to
you're
drive
gonna
back
have the
to
best
Florida
ride
with.
back home.
All right.
You got to like smoke a joint and just buckle in.
That
Don't
won't
smoke
be a
weed and
problem.
drive.